Money world, el mundo quiere dinero. Se arregla con dinero. Money world, si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar, un lugar para trabajar, y si no hay para emigrar. Todo money, money, todo el dinero. Solo un par de gente se lleva el putín entero. Funny, funny, pasa verdadero. Si tienes lo verde siempre llegará primero. Pero llegaremos antes o después. Solo a lo suyo, que Dios te lo ve. Que por más que tarde lo veré caer. Somos más lo bueno y tenemos fe. El dinero ya lo veré. No vendo mi alma, lo lograré. Seré el más grande, no olvidaré de dónde vengo ni cómo voy. Money world, el mundo quiere dinero. Money world, se arregla con dinero. Money world, yo digo las cosas como son. No quiero ninguna aceptación. Tampoco vengo a pedir perdón porque mis sentimientos se volvieron la canción. Yeah, no me vale mucho como tú me ves. Sabes, tú me llegas solo a los pies. Para mí ser grande es un interés. Ser un buen humano para mí es un deber. El dinero ya lo veré. No vendo mi alma, lo lograré. Seré el más grande, no olvidaré de dónde vengo ni cómo voy. Money world, el mundo quiere dinero. Money world, se arregla con dinero. Money world, corazón, de corazón. La plata no te hace ser feliz. De corazón, de corazón. La plata no te hace ser feliz. Money world, el mundo quiere dinero. Money world, money world, money world, money world. Se arregla con dinero. Money world.
All right, everybody, welcome to DJ Torch Live Network in the house. Let's break it down again.
Hey, Dad. My 5th birthday party is coming up, and this year I think I'm getting an ice cream cake. Do you like ice cream cake? Well, I'll save you a slice. Love you, Brandon. Hey, Dad. My 10th birthday party is next week, and when I woke up this morning, the first thing Mom said was, "Dang, you look just like your daddy." Maybe that's why my reflection is so unfamiliar sometimes. Anyways, I really hope you can make it to the party this year. I miss you a lot. All right, well, I'll see you at the party. Hopefully. Sincerely, Brandon. Hey, Tyrone. I just turned 16 years old today, and about a week ago, I thought about inviting you to my birthday party this year because all the kids at school always ask, "Are you going to make it?" And I always end up telling them that you're out of town. Now, Mama told me stop lying so much, but technically you are out of town, so I guess I wasn't really lying because what's a little half-truth when you've only ever known half your roots? But I'm tired of sticking up for you. I'm tired of all these sleepless nights. I'm tired of coming out with excuses for your absence. I'm tired of trying to reform my self-image into something that you would consider to be beautiful. I'm tired of trying to earn the title of being called your son as if it wasn't my birthright. So you know what, Dad, or Tyrone, whoever the hell you are, I'm done. Because all I ever wanted was for you to acknowledge my existence. But despite my persistence, I haven't even met resistance, just absence. And I hate the fact that I still want you here. But I'm done being caught in this delusion. The idea that you, a mirage, could alleviate my confusion. I don't need you. I never did. This is my last letter to you, Tyrone. Goodbye. 25 years, I cried into pillow sheets wondering why you left me. Wondering what I could have done to have earned your love, or how I pushed you so far away. Your absence, like a flame, bound home in the kindling of my insecurities, and my mind became a wildfire. And as I ascended in age, my sorrow turned to rage, because I wanted to move on, but I simply couldn't turn the page. Or I didn't want to, because somehow being angry with you still made me feel close to you. And despite our lack of history, Tyrone, I've come to learn that pain, like secrets, can only control you if you hold them within. So I've laid down these woes at the altar of Christ just so I can tell you this. I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you so I can finally be free. No longer shackled to my misery, because this situation is so much bigger than you and me. This right here is generational healing, because I'm getting married soon. And I want our first chapter together to be started off on the right page with you by my side as I marry my bride. Because Tyrone, for the first time ever, I can honestly say, I love you. And I actually mean it. So will you be there for my biggest day ever? Sincerely, your son, Brandon. Hello? Hey, Tyrone. I got something I'd like to read to you.
What are your thoughts on Karl Malone being a huge part of All-Star Weekend?
All right, here we go. I'd like to kick a shout out to Mistress Newbie, Indiana Mom, Conscious Mind Love, Feisty Black Tina, Kittens in Caskets in the house. Here we go.
He was in college. Karl Malone had a baby with a 12-year-old.
I love Utah. We all can do better. But thank you for allowing me to steal a little bit of your time and grow into the man I am today.
The 2023 NBA All-Star Weekend held in Salt Lake City.
The last clip was brought to you by Angry Biracial, and this one is brought to you by Around the Association. Here we go.
Utah. And if you're familiar with the NBA, they typically have, the current players and some of the legends that have played for these franchises heavily involved for All-Star Weekend. Now, this brings us to Salt Lake City, where I think it's safe to say John Stockton and Karl Malone, since they were the leaders in taking that franchise to 2 consecutive NBA finals.
Shout out to LW and Chickalicious in the house. Thank you for coming.
Appearances, they would be heavily involved. Now, John Stockton, a bit of a conspiracy theorist, has said some wild things online, but, who hasn't? The real attention and what's actually catching a lot of backlash is, especially in today, this is a scenario where you have Karl Malone, who is catching fire from media and fans with his involvement. Now, last night he was involved in judging the slam dunk contest. He's been a host there. He's kind of come out of hiding, if you will. He's not one of these former players that, that owns a team or that you're going to see on TV coming back doing interviews or even being very close with the franchise. He hasn't done that a lot. Now, this is what one Bomani Jones, formerly with ESPN, had to say in regards to Karl Malone.
What are your thoughts on Karl Malone being a huge part of All-Star Weekend? You could basically make this question, what are your thoughts about Karl Malone, and stop it right there. Like it doesn't have to be an occasion. Because I hated Karl Malone so much before I had a great reason. I only had good ones. Like just being a dirty player, elbowing people all the time, that sort of stuff. And then, we found out the whole thing, if you don't know this, that when he was in college, Karl Malone had a baby with a 12-year-old.
That's pretty bad. I'm playing this not to really disrespect or highlight the negative behavior of Karl Malone, but to show you how normalized that a grown man could do this and still have a career and all this other stuff. Career. Not. I just found out. I just found out myself. And that's the initial issue with a lot of things in our community is so many taboo, extreme taboo, horrific things have been made secret just for the benefit of one person. Who knows what else he did after that? Because as you've seen, it's quite clear that giving people second chances and everything in many, many cases, in some cases it works out, but in many cases they go on for a very long time with the same behavior. A perfect example, I hate to bring him up for the umpteenth millionth time, but Diddy. Obviously, men around him, everybody knew. It was kind of like everybody knew what was going on around R. Kelly. They knew, but they let it slide. So the whole thing will give a brother a break. I understand that, and in some instances, like in job hiring, that would be very helpful. But in other instances, like in getting a ticket for going 1 mile over the speed limit kind of stuff, that's where you give a brother a break. If somebody's straight up assaulting somebody or doing horrific things to other people, especially other black kids or any kid for that matter, what break do they really deserve?
There's never been any sort of reckoning for Malone because Malone lays low. Like he just out there in the country, driving his semi, doing whatever it is that Karl Malone does out there. But if
SRV in the house, Mr. Snoopy in the house, the LW in the house.
If you're doing something for Utah basketball, it's like Karl Malone. So we got Karl Malone and John Stockton. John Stockton is crazy conspiracy guy. And I'm just kind of like, I know a lot of people that think crazy things, as long as you don't say it on the microphone there, I guess, right? But Karl Malone, you're kind of supposed to leave him at home, except if you're the league. I heard a lot of y'all when I told y'all those details that you'd never heard them before, right? And so why is Karl Malone not there? Then you make this more a story. And so I would imagine that there's a very cynical outlook on how to play it. So I never want to see Karl Malone ever, all time, any other point. But he's going to be there, and it's going to be wild uncomfortable for a lot of people.
And I agree. I mean, if you can tell by the different reactions online, in the stadium, other celebrities, it's like, whew. I mean, that's bad. I mean, he was 20 years old at, Louisiana Tech, and it would have been bad anyway if there was a rape allegation of someone in college with him then. Especially during this time where, things you've done in your past has never been more against you than it is right now today. But for it to be someone underage, I mean, and by underage, I think 17 in Louisiana was the legal age of consent. And he was 20. So you're talking about someone 12, 13. Her name was Gloria Bell, who ended up having a son that actually went on to the NFL. And
that is just crazy. That is just crazy. Indiana mom breaks it down like this. the abuse has been overlooked and excused for generations because Black women and girls were never important in the Black community. They still aren't and will never be. Bars. The LW Academy Hub for Women states this. If I really like you, 3 strikes and you're out. If not, it's one it's one chance if I even get there because I get bored or watching people trying to play with me really easily. Yeah, I hear that. Ellen Ripley, welcome. Legs for Life, welcome. Let's keep it going.
That's not all. That's the crazy thing with Carl. That's the most egregious, but it seems like it was just too much baggage because on top of that, he had an estranged relationship with the former WNBA Cheryl Ford. He actually had twin children with her mother. She has a twin. A lot of people don't know that. And they didn't get reacquainted till well later in life. And Cheryl Ford talked about, hey,
doesn't this sound familiar to the Busta Rhymes situation? But at least Busta, we didn't hear nothing about no 12-year-olds, but let's keep it going.
I wanted to have a relationship.
Again, I'm just trying to see what I've learned is a lot of men in this space, they will try to use the excuse, well, that was an outlier, that was an outlier, that was an outlier. So I keep having to give these examples, not to bash, but to show the example that this is how it was in the hood. And the reason why I'm showing this is because these men want to go further to blame Black women who were really actually Black girls, okay, back in the day, for either having them, okay, or somehow a Black little girl kicks them out of the house. And so I'm trying to make their statements fraudulent. I hope it's working a little bit because it's quite true. New Diamond, welcome. This is what this channel is all about, is the truth. 1, to protect Black women, and 2, to at least have Black men have a conversation about the situations that we are responsible about in the community. There's only 2 people in the community. There's Black men and there's Black women, right? If you go on the argument that there is a community. And if you do, who are the leaders of the community? I mean, let's take it out of the community for 1 second, and maybe I can land this plane and make this example solid by using sports once again. It is football, right? So, as boys been stated, welcome the dating pool roast. It's always been in the football culture that the leaders of the team are responsible for the team. They don't in football blame like the backups or the second stringers. It's up to the leaders of the team. So they're called captains, and then you have the assistants, the OC and the DC, and then you have the coaches. And then ultimately you get to the CEOs, and then ultimately you get to the owners, right? So the leadership, the I guess what I'm saying, excuse me for stuttering, is that the responsibility is usually up to the leaders of the organization, the owner, the CEOs, the front office, coaching staff, captains on the team, starting players, right? And so it's taboo to blame the any one player because there are so many wheels turning around, and the responsibility is on the leaders, right? At least I don't think they take the reins now. Black men, I don't believe they say, many of them don't say they're the leaders of the community now because they say, oh yeah, and the women are the leaders now, feminism, blah, 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 whatever, right? But it's clear that in the 80s and 70s, 60s, the black men were the leaders of the community. So we're going to do some math here. So if black men are the leaders of the community, right? We're responsible. It's that simple. What I've noticed in life playing sports is this. Good teams rack up wins. Bad teams rack up excuses. It is what it is. If we lose a game, like when I played soccer, so if we lose a game, I didn't walk over to the guy who, to some other player and go, "Was it your fault? You should have scored," or whatever. Like we all need to improve. Or maybe it was on me. Maybe I should have, saved a goal or something. Maybe I should focus on what I'm doing. That's how I saw it. But at least specifically in the Black manosphere and probably in the Black community, since the Black manosphere is a very strong component of the Black community, and I'm going to prove why in a minute, is blame everything on the Black woman. Yesterday, I showed clip after clip of famous Black men that have great influence in the community messing up. Look at DJ Academics. They love him. But he keeps dating the same type of women. And on top of it, they really have nothing to do with us because they were all non-Black. But the funny thing is that it's the Black woman that takes the rap for these women. You didn't know that? John Majors, right? A perfect example of when a Black man is down, a Black woman is supposed to stand him up. Because who got right beside him after he went through the hell? A woman that wasn't even his color gave him hell, right? But what did the Black manosphere do? They blamed it on Black women. They blamed the behavior of another race of woman on Black women. Don't believe me? Don't believe me? Let me clip it up. Let me get it going here. Where is it at? John, where you at? Hold on one second. Where is old John at? I know he's on here. There he is. I don't know how I missed him. Check this out.
Day 2 of Jonathan Majors' long-delayed trial brought in some serious wins for the actor.
You see who's with him? At his lowest? Remember the Jeezy line? If you know the woman who's with him, please let me know in the chat. We do know one thing, she is black. But I want to make sure that everybody else knows who watches this video. Andre, welcome. Ellen, welcome. New Diamond, welcome. Miss RV, welcome. Indiana Mom, welcome. Mistress Newbie, welcome. Megan Good. Yeah. Let's keep it going.
When the judge ruled against the prosecution being able to use evidence that was already under seal. He also stated that Jonathan's ex-girlfriend could not be referred to as the victim, and that Jonathan's attorneys could bring up his ex-girlfriend's arrest during the trial. So just to bring you up to speed, back in September, video surveillance of Jonathan Majors' accuser was released and showed her approaching strangers without any apparent injuries just 8 minutes after the alleged car altercation that she later told police was where she had stained bruises and cuts around her neck, as well as a broken finger. Now remember, Jonathan was arrested on March 25th, 2023, because his ex-girlfriend allegedly told police after much coaching, according to the body cam footage, that Jonathan Majors had put hands on her and around her neck in the back of their car after she tried to take his phone from him when she noticed that he had received a text message saying, "I wish
So
I
this
could
is the thing. This happens a lot. Welcome, Alexander. This happens a lot. So, but it's only really taken seriously, perfect example, Diddy, when it's a woman who is not the same color as a black man. And they take it seriously because you see what happened to John, right? Black women took the rap. Isn't it weird? A black woman taking a rap for a woman of another color. I really, quite honestly, I don't know that's what they're doing. They don't, the manosphere does not want to blame this Caucasian woman at all. So they're going to spin it around some way and say, well, you know, John Major's mom, where was she when he was getting beat up? Shit like that. Let's keep it going.
be kissing you right now." Now, if you check out the last video we did on this, the surveillance footage shows her after the alleged altercation, not only apparently uninjured, but approaching two strange men who look like her, telling them that her boyfriend is Jonathan Majors and that she had to run out of the car.
Wait a minute, who looked like her? This guy does, but this guy looks black over here. What is it? See? Okay, let's keep it going.
Because she saw that he had received a text message from another woman saying, "I wish I could be kissing you right now." Not once did she say that he had put hands on her. Not once did any of the strangers reference any bruising, bleeding cuts.
Yeah, he's definitely black. He's black. This man right here. So already, I'm not trying to ridicule the publisher, but it's important to be accurate in these instances. And that's not accurate. Well, there's two people. I guess she's counting this person right here.
Scratches on her. And Jonathan's ex continually ran her allegedly broken finger through her long blonde hair to tie it back in a knot.
Pause there. Okay, we go here. I want to need to break this down. One of our celebrity psychologists, I'll call her, she does excellent work. The LW Academy Hub for Women says this. I actually think Jonathan Majors is guilty. I'm about to do a video about that. They have text evidence of them talking with her about a separate time when he physically assaulted her. And the thing is that Welcome, Ellen Ripley. It happens a lot. I mean, we saw that in the what's his name? Dude, the ship dude, the pirate dude. Damn, I can't believe. But the pirate dude, I'll just call him the pirate dude. But he did this. I mean, the thing is that it's funny that men complain about the courts when it's time after time, it's been shown that the courts are biased usually towards men. And if they're going to be biased towards women, it's usually going to be a woman that is not black. Johnny Depp, thank you. Thank you, King. Johnny Depp. I mean, there's a certain pattern that you start to read. That's why people are like, how do you know he did that and everything? I see the pattern. I see the pattern. I've actually learned and watched a lot of videos from some excellent people, in the psychology field, and that after a while, you start to see patterns if you really, really do listen. Welcome, Betterment. And that's what I see. Let's keep it going.
The strangers offered her the use of their phones to call Jonathan. That's definitely not something anyone would do if they were told that he had just laid hands on her. They also offered to call her an Uber and give her money to get a car home. They asked if she knows where she lives, but not once do they offer to get her to a hospital or call the police, which leads people to believe that these strangers saw no visible injuries and that Jonathan's ex also did not mention having any altercation with him just a few minutes after that alleged altercation occurred. Jonathan's ex again gets emotional with the strangers.
Okay. Again, I mean, I understand the argument. Unfortunately, there have been times who people, after they've been assaulted, wanted a hamburger. And it was clear they were assaulted, but they wanted a hamburger. When you're in shock, it's really not. Things aren't going to be normal. That's why they have courtrooms to try to break it down. So let's keep it going.
And mentions again that Jonathan was possibly cheating on her, and she had to leave her purse and phone in the car because he got a text message from another woman. And one of the men basically says that's Jonathan's fault, right as Jonathan comes strolling down the sidewalk in front of them. The strangers stop talking, and Jonathan's ex immediately tries to approach Jonathan, while the female stranger tries to hold her back. But his ex shakes the stranger off of her and reaches towards Jonathan. And you can see Jonathan visibly jerk away from his ex and keep walking away without any real acknowledgement of her. At which point the strangers and Jonathan's ex, who all have the same complexion, stare at each other in shock. Jonathan's ex becomes the most distraught at this point and
wow, this guy was gonna go after him or something.
Hands over her face and appears to sob while the strangers look on. Then she rushes off after Jonathan. One of the male strangers then aggressively pushes past his own girlfriend to take off after Jonathan, at which point his girlfriend yanks him back and scolds him while pushing him into a wall to stop him from going after Jonathan.
Wow, that is crazy. Indiana Mom says this, the patterns are obvious if you know what to look for. They like to think women are stupid. As a collective, we are not. Indiana Mom, exactly. Yeah. I mean, this is not really evidence, but hey, I really hope he's not a DV kind of guy, and I really hope that things get worked out properly in the court. I really do.
They all then
But I don't know. To me, if this is supposed to be a win for Jonathan. This evidence right here, that's not a win. It doesn't hurt him, but I'm not saying it's going to help him either.
Walk off, and minutes later, more surveillance video catches Jonathan's ex with these same strangers inside a nightclub, drinking champagne and dancing, with the ex being twirled around by the finger she later said had been broken in the car. So basically, these videos seem to vindicate Jonathan from the charges. So much so that when the police in the same precinct that initially arrested Jonathan saw this footage and were presented with the bruises and cuts that were actually visible on Jonathan from that night, they finally moved to act on the police report that Jonathan had filed against his ex back in June. And they authorized the arrest of Jonathan's ex on several charges in October of this year. The DA's office apparently saw something completely different in the video and said that even if Jonathan's ex was a
They saw he was a multi-million-dollar investment. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. Because this isn't about Jonathan Majors. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into the movie. Here we go. Oh, trigger warning. If you know this movie, don't say anything to the other people in the chat room so it doesn't get the spoiler. There's no spoilers. And secondly, I have to tell you, this is a very, very riveting piece of work. So get ready. Here we go. Welcome, Quita. Welcome, Indiana Ma. Welcome, Ellen Ripley. Here we go.
All right, shoes on, mister.
Wait,
Oh,
don't.
jeez.
I'm cleaning in
I'm
here.
not. Kiddo, how we doing in there, buddy? I'm sorry I just barged in like that to your personal space. Shouldn't have. Can I come in for a second? Isaiah, is it okay if I come in?
Yeah,
Yes, then. Come in.
yeah.
Mic check. Is the volume okay? Can you hear okay? I'm going to bring it up just a little bit more just in case. Here we go.
I didn't see anything. Listen, kiddo. And everyone's entitled to their.
Do you do it?
Well, everybody does.
So you do it then.
I mean, it's common. Yeah. It's something that's natural to do for all people. And all people deserve to have their boundaries respected. And that's where I crossed the line. So I'm sorry if this is weird, but I just wanted to make sure you weren't feeling ugly and like this was ugly. And hide it under the rug and let it become something taboo between us. You know what taboo is?
Yes.
Well, now it won't be, because we talked about it and it's out in the open.
Okay.
I am sorry if this is weird.
It's not.
Oh, good. It shouldn't be. Well, I'll leave you to it then.
All right. Yes, that's right. You saw what you saw. Let's keep it going. Here we go.
I love you.
I love you back.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
And if we could try Mom's hands on the big man's shoulder.
All right.
Oh, that's just lovely. And if we could all just look straight ahead, please. Wonderful. And we're a happy little family with a great big smile. Fantastic. And how about a smile from Dad this time?
Was I not smiling?
Oh, were you?
Sorry, I thought I was.
Then let's just have another big one, please. There we go. Lovely.
Okay, looking good. And now if I could just get a big smile from the two happy families.
Family.
Sorry?
Today we're one happy family.
Got a little crowded all of a sudden.
That's the way I like it.
You seeing my cufflinks? Yeah, we can see those, no problem. You think?
Because I could turn more toward the camera.
Thanks for everything, Bob.
Do we all say cheese?
You can say cheese, you can say taco, you can say whatever you'd like, but if you could just give me the teeniest, weeniest little...
Holy shoot. Yeah, you
Yeah!
Hey now, give it up for Marianne, y'all. Isaiah.
I don't know where to get that tuxedo from. Because, I mean, you know, any dude that wears a tuxedo like that is going to break some heart.
He ain't gonna break the heart. What do you think happened to me? Have you seen where they went, by the way?
Well, Marianne was over there. We were just talking.
I think I may... Isaiah?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen him.
I think I may go find him.
Okay, then, see you later. Yeah.
All righty. Hi.
Hey there.
Did you like that cake?
Oh, I love it.
I'm glad. Have another piece.
Okay.
So good to I'll talk to you later. All right. Hi.
she's very pretty.
Have you seen Isaiah?
No, I haven't.
All right.
I like the way she carries herself. She kind of floats.
See you in a minute. Hi, you. You are such a little clown. Hi, honey. Have you seen Isaiah?
No.
Everyone having a good time?
Can I get a hot water bottle?
Mama, beautiful reception.
I will be right back. Hold on. Honey, would you go get your father? Dinner's up.
Shall I help set the table?
Oh, that's okay. Everything's under control.
He's a writer, as you can see.
Hey, Pop. Time for din-dins.
So, what are your thoughts so far? What are your thoughts so far? Put it in the chat. I'm going to keep it going so we don't lose the vibe. Welcome, Dreams, King Lucifer, Queen Ward, Helen Ripley, Creative Solutions, Indiana Mom. Here we go.
Here we go. It's hot.
You want one of these?
I'm okay.
They're Belgian.
I know. Thank you. I'm okay.
You know, these aren't for me, Dad. I got them for you.
I'll have one.
Well, they're Dad's, so you're gonna have to ask him first.
Pass the potatoes, please. Cute.
Would you like one?
Oh, maybe later. Thank you, honey.
Thank you.
What?
Biscuits? Sure.
Hey.
You're here.
I forgot that toilet was broken. I'm just gonna use yours.
No, that's my. Wait a minute. Your mother's in there.
I can wait.
Wow. No boundaries whatsoever. Yeah, this movie at the very least is thought provoking. Let's keep it going. The producer has done a lot of work, but we'll talk about that later.
Don't look so scared. I tell you, Dad, from a poet, I expect more eloquence.
Here we go. Here we go.
I'm sorry.
What for? For nothing?
for what I wrote.
What you wrote? You mean your little autobiography? All 300 pages of it? I love you, Dad, but this makes it hard. And I'm burning this. And if I see another copy lying around, it's going to be more than a slap on the wrist. I promise you.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This movie has a lot of twists. Here we go. On the DL.
Oh my God! You guys were gonna leave without hugging.
We would have made it too.
Good night. Thank you so much for coming.
Hey, next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. New Year. Happy New Year.
You know, I think I'm just going to help and stay here.
You're gonna what?
Just to help clean. I mean, this is such a mess we're leaving him with. It's going to be okay. I'm just going to come home a little bit later, okay? That's all.
A person who wakes up in the morning and says today's going to be awful, I just know it. Well, that person is just about guaranteed to have an awful day. In fact, he'll do the legwork to make it awful. Through the power of his attitude,
He's trying to get some therapy.
every good thing on his path from reaching its potential. And if good things do happen, well, he'll be looking in the other direction. Because what he's done is he's committed himself to the prison of negativity. Now, on the other side of this coin, a person who wakes up and greets the day with enthusiasm and positivity will see the good things on his path. Because through the power of
Dad? How do I feel about locked doors?
is entirely dependent on if you decide that your life will be prosperous and filled with joy, then that is what it shall be. But know this, a man who feeds on negativity
How long was he lying? Long enough to lose a few liters.
Damn it, I need his VP now.
85 over 40.
Okay, gonna need 70 more milligrams. Stat.
Blood pressure, give it to me. Pulse is 93. Yes? Christ.
I said 70 milligrams, people. Do I have to get on my hands and knees here?
I've only got 2 hands, doctor!
So use them. This poor bastard's gonna die on the splat. We don't work miracles and fast.
The right ventricle's dilated.
Suction! Quick!
Jesus, he needs oxygen!
We're not oxygenating, Maggie!
Resuming compression. Charge to 15!
wealth, happiness, and love. It is my not so radical thesis that all of these things are a result of your health. As you visualize success, you will take the road towards it.
I have to cover this up.
Then I hope you have good assurance. The phenomena of horrible things happening to
Put
people
that in your book.
is inextricably linked to that of people thinking horrible things might happen to them.
Don't forget to take out your trash cans.
And what's that? Another book of yours? Are you asking me to get upset?
I'm not asking you anything.
Well, I'm asking you.
I'm just leaving.
This is pathetic, Dad. If you want me to apologize, I'll apologize. And I am sorry about what happened last night. And I did go too far. But what about you? Am I totally alone here? Am I just this abusive monster and you're some sad, helpless victim? Or does it take two to tango? Because I think it does. And if I've done anything, you've done it with me. Don't check! Am I just this abusive monster and you're some sad, helpless victim?
This is crazy.
Or does it take two to tango? Because I think it does. And if I've done anything, you've done it with me. Don't check your fucking head at me! Everything I've ever done has been for you and for you and for you, and to what end? I didn't ask
Wow.
for this. This is your thing, something you started. But I'm here now, and I'm in it, and I've given myself, and I've accepted you completely. But you are not just my father. You're my friend. You're my best friend. And maybe we can just agree that that's a beautiful thing and not something to be perverted and corrupted and mutilated by your warped and confused conscience. You've always sabotaged everything good in your life. You've been shitting all over this from the minute we started. You never gave it a chance to be good. But you can sleep with that cold bitch in that loveless bed. And you can write
He is talking about his wife like that? Oh, snap.
your backwards book about your backwards son, but not a single word about what you've done. It's just love, Dad. And that is big. And that is scary. But there's being scared, and there's being a coward. And right now, you're breaking my heart.
Welcome, Harlem Renaissance. Harlem breaks it down like this. They were extremely codependent. I don't think they were stupid.
No! Don't touch him! Call the fucking ambulance!
Welcome, Phoenix Rising. Well said. New Diamond, the actors in this movie were excellent.
I want to ask you something, Isaiah.
How long have you been standing there? How are you holding up?
Why was your father crying when he drove you home from prom night?
I'm sorry?
On your prom night, when he brought you back home,
What about it?
he was crying.
Was he?
He was crying, and he wouldn't look at me.
Are you being serious?
He locked himself in the bathroom, and he just cried, and he cried all night with the sink running.
Man,
I don't remember that at all.
this is getting deep.
Is that when it started?
That was 10 years ago. How am I supposed to remember what happened one night?
Prom night?
Which was 10 years ago. That's a pretty long time to remember what your father did at a specific time on a specific night.
It started earlier. I know that. When did it start?
Mom,
Wow.
you're emotional. I'm emotional. We are not
Stop
ourselves.
it.
You don't even know what you're trying to say.
I know exactly what I am trying to say.
Well, I don't. But I think it's pretty ugly what you seem to be saying, and I think you would agree if you could hear yourself.
You monster. You killed your own father. How could you?
What? Wait.
Get off of me!
I'm warning you, Mom.
You don't warn me!
I loved him better than you ever did.
You sick! Sick! Sick!
Let me pause it right there. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I know we're in the movie, but don't forget to do that. Here we go. Yeah. Holy moly. Holy moly. Here we go. As you can see, this is a deep, deep movie. I don't want to say anything right now, but we will be talking about this. King Lucifer. Well, the son funeral next. Right now, I'm going to drop the link. If anybody would like to come up, so open mic. If you'd like to discuss what we just saw. I'll tell you, this is out of the box. It's thinking outside the box with this movie right here tonight. Thought-provoking. The name of the movie is The Strange Thing About the Johnsons. Strange Things About the Johnsons. So let me pause it for right now. And maybe go to some of the pivotal scenes and let's talk about it. Again, let's go over the first 15. I mean, the intro, I should say. Here we go.
All right, shoes on, Mr.
Wait, don't.
Jeez.
I'm cleaning it.
I
here.
knocked.
So that was really interesting, but it happens a lot actually. A space thing to me. Basically, I don't think it was a reason. What happened. But let's just say that it didn't help. And I think the first thing that it is not what actually him barging in is the issue, it's the fact that he felt comfortable doing that. Welcome, Quita. Welcome to the stage. I think your mic is on mute.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me now?
Sure can. How you doing
Hi,
tonight,
DJ.
Quita? It is so good to hear your voice. It's been a long time.
I know. How you doing?
Doing good. How about you?
I can't complain. Is that me echoing?
I don't think it is. Let me turn my volume down a little bit. Maybe it's me. Hold on one second. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, it's good now.
Yeah, you sound fine through the through my system.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to be here. It's my first time, and I appreciate you having me.
Oh yeah. Hey, look. You're very appreciate. It's very appreciated to have you on the stage. First time here.
Yes.
How did we hit you?
How did the movie hit me?
Yeah.
This movie was crazy. I have never seen it this way. Like, apparently, the dad did something to him when he was a little boy. So the boy turned around, and his revenge is to bend the dad over. I've never seen it that way.
Yeah. That very let's just put it this way, a very thought-provoking movie. I never thought about this scenario ever.
Exactly. Wow.
That is just crazy. I mean, it was like, what?
And then it's like he fell in love with his father.
Yeah.
He fell in love with his father.
It's like he had a father and a mother, and they seem to be very loving. But he sure turned out to be a loon, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, this movie was crazy.
Creative says, wow, I'm happy I'm a single mom now. Hey, it's like, I mean, the thing is this is quite honestly, I guess everybody see the manosphere, they try to sell it as having husband and wife or being married as the end all, but with all the divorce situations and everything, and these dynamics that we just saw, the weird things that we just saw here, man, it's not what I mean. It's not always that. It's that's not the end all, in my opinion. I mean, it's don't get me wrong. I think marriage is wonderful when it's not toxic, but yeah, sees. I have nothing to say right now. Ellen, what's going on with you?
Yeah, you know what? I immediately knew that he was getting touched and well molested by the father when he was touching himself with a picture of the father, because that how it usually happens. So I think that the guy, you know, men, when I said before that men fall in love through sex, you know, and because he was a man, he was, you know, that he knew he loved his father. He loved his father, but he confused the two because he's like, you know, he confused it as being in love because he's probably saying to himself, like, you know, why when I see my father, I get sexually aroused, because his father was touching him. His father was basically molesting him. And he just like, you know, he's a developing boy and he didn't know that like those feelings were just like it's just crazy. He, you know, the father, he, if that was my son, I'm telling you, this guy would have been deleted. He would have suffered before he was deleted. He would have like, I would have tortured him. Really, I can't lie. I can't, you know, but you can't do that's when you do that, when you abuse or take a man's manhood or whatever you want to call it, or abuse someone, or basically he R-word him, you know, you take a piece of their soul. And I feel as though that was, you couldn't have found any other like hobbies or something, like you said. Oh, you can't say to yourself, okay, I know this is wrong, I can't control myself because I'm an undercover, you know, I have feelings for men. And you had to be a pervert, and you had to do it to your own seed that you created with your own substance. You created that with your own. It's disgusting. It's just disgusting. I don't really have any words. It's just oh God, it's crazy.
It's a lot. It's a lot. That's for sure.
Hey DJ,
Yes.
how you doing, ma'am, on this panel? Can't see your name.
Hi, Quita Ward.
Oh, that's
How you doing?
her name is
Hi.
Ellen Ripley. Let me clear up the bring down
Ellen.
so we can see each other. There we go.
Another thing I thought about, DJ, is it could have came out different. The son could have had children and then started doing it to his children.
True.
What is normally what happens in 2023 from back then until now. This was this pulled one on me with this one. The child turn around, and I've never seen it this way. Now I've seen children in the news with do their grandparents or older people, but not nobody that they can buck up with like their father.
But you know what? I just want to say this real quick. This happens to a lot of young black boys, especially in our community, because we are told to, you know, and our community is so homophobic. Well, I wouldn't say I was in the black community, but I'm saying that the black community is so homophobic that a young boy can't even say this, like he been touched. If he say, you know, I've been touched, or my uncle or a relative or something touched me, they're gonna be like, oh, well, you're gay. Oh my God, you're because they're so ignorant, and they're in the Stone Ages. It seems like in the black community, and It's so a lot of this is happening to a lot of guys, and a lot of guys even go to prison or go to prison, not jail, but go to prison, and this happens to them, and they never tell anybody. They can even get like gang R word, like gang raped, and they would never tell anybody because the black community is going to automatically say that you're gay because they're so ignorant. Not all of us, but a lot of us are.
Let me get some input from LW Academy Hub for Women. Let me see if I can, wait, let's see. Angelina, is your mic working? Oh, she had to drop off. Okay. Camo, welcome. Camo? Hello? Okay. I guess Camo's there. Camo's busy too. So, Quita, what
Yes,
would you
what-
say were the most thought-provoking, well, let's just put it that way, thought-provoking scenes in this movie?
One of the thought-provoking scenes to me is the mother's position. Like, what type of man was he with her? Like, was he dominant over her and she was afraid of him? Did she see the signs in the son? Did she know the husband was doing this and she was afraid? Like, I just really would love to know her position. Like, yeah. And her for
But
her, the part where she didn't care no more, like I think she became numb or something, or she was afraid. I don't know her position.
you know what? Do you mind if I make a comment?
Go for it.
A lot of women in the black community, and I have to keep it real, they're looking for a good man so darn bad. A lot of them would just look the other way because they're looking for a good black man, not man, because they don't date out. They won't open their options. And I've seen my best friend, rest in peace. He was gay. One of my best friends was gay, and I had to. Me and him, we were going to college together, and he used to tell me stories about how he used to go with straight guys, right? He used to I'm not straight. I'm so sorry. He was on the down low. I say gay because he was living in a lifestyle that he didn't want to come out. So he was going with a woman. And this woman, he would go to church with her. He would he would be the perfect man. He would, but he would tell me how he would just finish being with his boyfriend, go home, wash his penis in the sink, turn his wife over while he sleep, and stick his penis in his wife after he was bent over by his boyfriend. And I never told his wife because I was trying to be a so-called good friend, but I feel bad that I didn't tell her. But he passed away.
Wow. What did he pass away from?
Well, he passed away from HIV.
Oh, man. Did he
So
pass it on to his wife?
he had to have it. I didn't have the heart. I moved out of state. I didn't have the heart to tell her that if she is sick, it was him. I mean, I just feel guilty. I feel bad and I feel guilty because I felt as though she should have known because he was effeminate. He was effeminate. And, I think that she turned the other cheek. She just didn't want to accept the fact that because she was just looking for a good black man. And she was gorgeous. She had a beautiful body. She had a good career. She was beautiful. This lady was like, I would give her an 8. Like, she was very beautiful. and she can get any man that she wanted, but it's the matter of getting they just want good black men. And this guy, he used to go to church with her, used to catch the Holy Ghost and everything, and he used to be so he just used to treat her like gold. And I guess like the sex was so good, and she had a man that was treating her so good, then she didn't even know he was going with guys.
So then, how do we find? Well, I'm not looking, but just a question I'm throwing out there. How would you know which one is the good guy? If this guy treated her like gold, caught the Holy Ghost, and all that stuff, how do you know which one is the good guy?
Well, it's which one is a good guy? Well, I mean, we was talking about like, guys not being 100 with their sexuality. I mean, you could be a good guy and be bisexual. I mean, you become the bad guy when you cheat. On whether you cheat on your wife with a man or a woman. I mean, just because you're bisexual means you like both. Um, you mean how do you know what's a guy that's not
Like you said,
gay?
Well, you said he treated her like gold. He was good to her. So in her
Mm-hmm.
mind, like you say, she thinking she has a good man, but all the time he's sleeping with men behind her
Yeah.
back. So how would she know if he's treating her like gold? Like if you're treating me like gold, when in 2023, I'm looking around still. I don't care if you treat me like gold. But back then, if you're treating me like gold, it's like I shouldn't have anything to look for. Like if you're doing everything that I see as good, how would I know you're bad? If
Well,
you're
this was in
hiding it.
2017. But
But
he
like for the new girls, the new women, how would they know this man treating you good? But how would you know he's not a good man? How would people know? So what I'm saying is
Mhm.
they all bunched up together. You
Yeah,
never know.
you can't, like Cynthia G said, you cannot tell a difference. How do you know who's a good man? How do you know because these so-called good men, or these so-called what did the manosphere call themselves?
Is
High
it
value
incest?
men.
Yeah,
High
high value men. They're they
They the
abandon
worst.
their children. They
They the
they
worst.
molest kids.
Right. So we never know. We can't tell. And when the good ones
Nope.
don't point out the bad ones or say anything, hell, y'all in there together. As far as we can see.
Yeah, you can't. So that's why I don't understand what they. I mean, I just think that they're the manosphere. They're corny, so they're trying to say that they're better than their high value men, and they. But it doesn't. You really can't tell.
Yeah, you can't. It's a bad thing, but yeah, you can't tell these days. I mean, we used to think when you whoop on us that you were a bad guy, but now you could be catching the Holy Ghost and be a bad guy.
Yeah, I know. It was just but she could. I mean, I thought that she was just ignoring the fact that he was bisexual, because you couldn't tell he was so effeminate acting. you know and then like in public, he used to like fix her clothing and make sure that her clothing was neat, and then he had like kind of an effeminate voice, and I thought that she was just like, he told her he was bisexual, and
Oh, he
but
told her?
at the end, I don't think she knew.
Oh, he didn't tell her he was bisexual.
No, he didn't tell her he was bisexual, because I asked her one day, I said that, how would you date a guy that was bisexual? And she was like, heck no. She didn't say heck, but she was like, no, I would not date a guy that's bisexual. And I said, well, what if you found out later on that he was bisexual and you was in love with him? What would you cheat? She's like, I would divorce him. I wouldn't be out. I would be so devastated. I would get him beat up. So I didn't say anything, because I'm like, obviously she didn't know. So
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so basically, she knew after you told him how you felt. After you asked her that question, sometimes your questions turn into statements, and I think she got the message of what you were saying. And quite honestly, I think she probably knew something. She probably knew something.
Well, she
But
kept dating him.
DJ, I want to say this to the young women out there and to people. A lot of people get on the panels and they say that women know better. Some men, they say men know better, but they will say, didn't your mother teach you? Oh, you knew better. I'm 50 years old, and I want to let the world know. My parents were okay parents. I came from a okay family, not the greatest. But I came out my mother's womb without any tools. And people wouldn't believe it. No, everything that I've learned, I had to get it out the mud. And my mother, she was a hardworking mother. She took care of her children, but she probably didn't know to do other things. So the tools that I got them out the mud. So everybody don't know. Every woman don't know. Yes, she had parents, but every woman don't know.
True.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Well, black
LW
women
fell
need to
off
date
there.
out their race because from my experience, men of other cultures, if they are bisexual, they would actually tell you and let you decide whether or not you're good with it. This download thing, I mean, I think that is cruel and evil, but I'm not God, so I can't really judge. I just don't like it. Just think that, people should be honest before they actually put a ring on it. If the woman is or the man is that in love with you enough that he or she is willing to marry you, I don't really think that would be too much of an issue. But what do I know? I'm
Yeah.
just okay. I'm done.
Oh, that hey, is well said, Ellen. Camel or New Diamond, feel free to chime in.
Hey, Torch, can you hear me?
Sure can. You sound crystal clear.
Okay, so I don't think that the father was abusing the child. I think that first of all, the director of this film, like I follow his work. This film he wrote while he was in school. Right now, and of course, he's a very famous writer, a famous producer. He produced mostly horror films. Some of them was I think Midsummer, Hereditary. And they're always very thought provoking. And it ends with a twist. They're very grim, and it's just different. Most of the films that you watch now, even the films that he's creating now, in his success, that's blockbuster hits, $1 billion movies, you will be left with like what just happened. So to me, I do believe that he left it open for the audience to, you know, think about the movie in the way that they wanted to. But what I think that he was doing was he was showing it from a perspective of the, putting an adult in the child's play in the place of a child, because normally in these situations it's the child that's the one that's being abused. So I think that he wanted to basically put in adult minds. Now imagine if you are these children that are going through this abuse, because if you notice through the movie, many of the things that was happening and being said was things that is common with people that are being abused, especially by someone that is a relative. And as such, in this film, um, the son talked about how they had a special relationship. This is a special relationship. And I've heard many abused people say that, with that were abused by one of their relatives, specifically a parent, that parent told them that this was like special, like almost like to make this relationship normal. So to me, I think that was the purpose of what he was doing, was to provoke thought of what, put yourself in a victim's position. Now imagine this happened to you as an adult, and this is what happens, because a lot of times with children get a lot of blame, or people don't believe them. You saw in a situation where the mom didn't do anything, and it's many situations where the mom would know that there was abuse going on in the house, and for whatever reason she ignored the abuse and allowed it. even in a situation of with the dad not saying anything and doing anything about it, when you have also children, as you can see in the situation, the son could be normal at times where it was almost a separation of, hey dad, the food is ready, dad, and he saw him as a dad. And then there was another part of it where he had this unnatural obsession with his father that was, of course, there was some type of sexual, something going on with that he felt for his father that was not normal. And it's the same thing that it's happened a lot in reverse with, parents that have done the same thing with their children. And that's what I think that the director or the producer of the movie was trying to show in the movie. He was trying to show it from a different perspective, so that, because a lot of times it is the children, and I think that, a lot of times children aren't listened to, they aren't heard. So he wanted it to put adults in that situation. Now, what if this is you? This is what happens in these situations. That's what I got from it.
Well, I think that okay, it's interesting because the power dynamics shifted. So, because the power dynamics shifted, it's almost as though a lot of people, from what I can hear, are not acknowledging that the child was the one that was abused. Like, it shifted, which is, I don't know, in a way, justice, to be fair. I mean, you shouldn't have been touching on your child in the first place. So, in that, I'm just like, and okay, the son totally terrorized the father in the end, because that was a secret he was trying to keep, under
But he
wraps.
had
So
been
he was
terrorizing. If you watch the movie, he actually had been terrorizing his father for a long time. It wasn't just when he was an adult.
okay, but it was the father, because from what I can see, in the first 5 seconds, I was like, the father's grooming. Like, why are you in his space? Like, you're invading his space and coming in to have a conversation about masturbation and normalizing it just after he's literally had his hand on his dick is inappropriate. It's like, do you want to give him some space to re-collaborate? It was very creepy in my mind. I was looking at it like, why are you rubbing his right? Not right now, not right now. So in that space, I was like, the father's doing a bit too much. Do you know what I mean? So I felt like he was grooming in that. Maybe he was already doing it to him. I don't even know. You know what I mean? But at that point, I thought that was an inappropriate kind of dynamic. So I feel like the father led that situation. And okay, did the son get obsessed? It looks like he absolutely did. And it seems like the father definitely reaped what he sowed at the end of that. Because here's the thing about it. If the father didn't start it, why did he even let it go on in the first place? The son obviously
So
had something. The son obviously had something over the father to make it so that he had to do as the son said. Does that make sense? So if he didn't start it, he could have just stood his ground and been like, my God, this is totally, and just, you know what I mean? But because he started that situation, he didn't have anything to defend himself with, apart from coming out and telling everybody he touched on his son. Do you know what I mean? So that
I
is
don't.
what the son had over him. Go ahead. What were you going to
So
say?
so when he walks into his son's room, and his son is masturbating, and then he leaves out, and then he comes back in, and then he has a conversation with his son about masturbation, which is normal, and it is normal. It's nothing not normal about that, and he is his father, and it is for him to have this conversation with him about things that happen to you, and when you're changing and growing up, and that it is normal. What's not normal is for you to masturbate to your father, which when his father leaves, it shows a picture that he was masturbating to his father. So,
Yeah, I
like, I
got
don't
that.
think his father knew that that's what he was doing. I think that his father thought that he was having a normal conversation with his son about
I
him
don't.
coming of age and masturbating.
I don't
Yeah,
think
but
so, because here's the thing. If that was the case, why didn't his father just put a stop? Why is the father letting him suck his penis? For what reason?
So I think, just
Do
like
you
I said
do you know what I
before,
mean? If he go ahead.
I know exactly what you're saying. I think that, just like I said before, that I believe that the person who produced this movie purposely created the movies to put the father in a place as if it was a child, as abuse that has happened so much before. But normally we see it as a child that's in that situation. I think that it was purposely written this way for it to look as if, now what if it was an adult in this situation when it's normally a child that's in
Cam
this abusive situation? Because even
Camo.
when his father, can I finish? You asked me a
Go
question.
ahead, go
So
ahead.
even when his father, when if you looked at his father when it was happening, he didn't like what was happening. You could see it on his face.
Okay, and here's my point. I hear what you're saying, and I can hear what you're saying about it being flicked and all of that. But there's another twist to that that I don't think you're in acknowledging. Because why would his father let him do? Think about it. He's a normal guy. He's just being terrorized by his son for absolutely no reason, right? Why would his father let him do that? The son obviously had something over him to make it so that he had to let him do that. Do you see what I mean? So this is why I think the father started it. He might not have wanted to. The son definitely ended it. Don't get me wrong, but I think the father started it because why wouldn't? Because he looked unhappy. Why didn't he stop it? What did the son have over the father that made it so that he couldn't stop that situation? Apart from the fact that he did it first.
I think
Or
that's why I
what?
That
keep
is the
saying,
only thing.
I said it before, that I think that it was purposely created this way to put in a to make it as if it's the child. It's no different. So if you was to look at this,
I hear,
if we
come
was to,
out.
I think it was purposely done that way. I think that, yes, it was
I get
purposely
it.
done that way,
I
where
get.
we
I
all
get.
know that the father could have done something, but I think it was purposely written this way for a
I
purpose.
get
Like
what
I
you're
said, I
saying,
have the director
but
of this film. I followed like a lot of his movies, and I watch a lot of things that he write, and he write movies in a certain way that a lot of it normally it wouldn't make any sense, but this is the way that he directs his movies, and I think that that's what he was doing.
I get what you're saying. I get the
That
twist. I
director was
get it.
sick.
It's I get what you're saying. It's not a mystery. I get what you're saying, and he's flipped it. But what I'm saying to you is there is an undertone that you're not acknowledging, because if that were the case and it was flipped, it only works in the power dynamic where the son has the power if he started it and is trying to keep that bit a secret. That is the only way it works, because why is he not happy but letting it happen? Do you see what
Okay,
I mean? I hear what you're saying.
let me chime in for 1 second. So what you're saying is that what we saw in the beginning of the movie was the middle of the situation.
Exactly. This is what I'm thinking's happened. Because why is the father letting it happen when he's not happy about it? Which human being does that? Unless the son has something on him.
So what she's
Well,
saying is the son is blackmailing the father.
That,
And what
boom,
was those
exactly.
papers? What was those papers that the boy stormed in the room? It was like, you write it again and da da da. So
He
what did
wrote
the
a
daddy
book.
He,
say?
He was writing a book
exactly.
about
He,
what had happened. He was writing a book about this experience that he was going through, and he put it in the room for the mother to read. But the son came in and took the book, and that's what he was talking about.
So the
but
son
why
is
would the
angry.
father?
so
Wait,
basically at that, go ahead, go ahead, go on.
I just
The
wanted to
son is
say
angry.
something. Why would the father be that much of a chicken shit and that weak? Why would he get his son some therapy? Like, this movie is sick. I
That's
don't
what I'm
have that much to
saying. He
say
had
about it.
that's what I'm saying. The son had something over him, and the son was angry at the father for giving that manuscript to the wife, because the father was trying to out himself from the situation. He was actually trying to confess about what he probably did to the son, because he wanted out of it. This is the stage this is what I'm thinking happened. This is the stage that he got to, and the son went and took that manuscript and was like, no, we're not doing that today.
So do you think
I
the
got
son
you
was
over a
angry?
barrel.
Do you think the
Absolutely,
son do you think the
absolutely.
son was angry at the mom because she didn't protect him?
I don't know because, God, the trauma bond and all of that stuff, the way that the son got twisted in that scenario, I'm not sure that it was what there was definitely jealousy there because the son clearly wasn't in his right mind by that point. This is what I'm thinking. I'm like, you're clearly not operating under normal circumstances.
By the way,
You know what
if
I
you
mean?
guys want, by the way, if you want me to go over, play a certain part of the clip back, I can do that if you want. If you guys want to try, to establish a deeper understanding of the
But
movie.
DJ, notice that he never like he didn't take the boy out like to play sports, um, to play football or anything. He didn't spend any time with him, like recreational time during the movie. So, did that have anything to do? Like he really wasn't. He wanted to bond with the father, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
It's
I
just
think the movie was written in a way to provoke conversation and thought. Everybody have their own way of. A lot of his movies is created this way where, saying you pretty much gotta, it could go either way. Well, maybe this is what happened, and maybe this is what happened. Like I said, most of his movies is very dark and grim, and a lot of them are horror films. So, it's I guess it's up to the viewer to build their own, you know, perspective of what they think happened in the movie.
That's well said.
all right. I know it's well, it was a black guy that wrote this, right?
No, it's a
Oh,
white man.
Oh my God.
How many children do you all honestly think if the parent did something like that, the child would turn around and be like, you know what, I'm gonna get you back, bend over. Like, how many
you know
people do
something
you think
though?
would do that?
They don't turn around, but they pass it on though. You see what I'm saying?
Right? They'll do
So
that versus going to the parent.
what they usually do, from it seems to be, from what I've seen in a pattern, they don't turn around, and this is, I think, what a lot of victims do. They don't turn around and give it back because of because of a power dynamic, but they pass it on to somebody else. What I mean is they assault somebody else.
But
So
here's the
DJ,
interest.
you being a man, like, why do you think that the father just allowed his son to like grope on him and stuff and touch him?
Exactly.
I mean, why do you think he allowed that? I'm just asking. Like, you're a grown man, you're the adult. Why would you allow this to happen for so many years? Do you think that the father actually felt as though he was the victim or he was being abused?
I think Camel's perspective on that is right. I think it it's far from a normal dynamic. I believe that it was kind of like they wanted to put a reverse dynamic on it to show those who abuse how those abused feel. I don't know. It's
So
hard for me to
what would you
explain it.
do if you was in that situation?
Me. Oh,
I,
me. Well, my goal is to stay out of that situation in the first place. But
I just
um,
don't think it's. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, I can't really say it any more than that. I mean, my thing is, I'm not getting in that situation. Period. There's no other way to handle it. I mean, I'm not getting in that. I'm not going to have some offspring that's going to be behaving like that.
I just don't think it's a plausible situation that the father would feel that terrified of the son and be in that bind with him. How could he possibly have got there without him being the perpetrator in the first place? I don't understand how that would have happened. Like,
You know,
he's the adult. He's got. Remember, the power dynamic has to be there for abuse to happen. He's the adult in that situation. And the interesting thing about that is what you said about, the abuser never flipping on the abused person, but going on to someone else is very interesting because if you take aside all the mind bending that goes on with that situation, it's actually the person who's abused sexually in that respect who has the power after the first time that it happens. Because now just like he flipped it in that situation. Now it's like, well, I could just go tell somebody. Do you see what I mean? So it's a precarious situation for an abuser, a sexual abuser. Do you know what I mean? Especially if you're kind of doing it on your family or your, it's a precarious situation for the abuser. But because they play so many mind games to keep it under wraps, it doesn't turn out to you. A lot of the time, it doesn't turn out where the abused person takes their power back. Do you know what I mean? And flips it on them, like I
LW.
interpret that this guy did. Yeah.
I want to ask you a question. Let's talk about, let's break, kind of like talk about the act of what was happening, which is, the violent assault or whatever, which is used as a weapon, which is also can be used as deadly force as well, rape or whatever, and what that represents in itself. Because that's, like I said, there's so much in this movie to break down, and what is happening. Um, and we also know that that's used as to put to instill fear in a person as well. Even it's kind of, it's one of those things where, like, when we talk about, there's many children who have deleted their whole entire family and their parents, for whatever reason. There's many cases. I know yourself as a therapist have read many of these cases, and probably and possibly even dealt with them, of children who, for whatever reason, whether it was, there's been cases of girls who, of boys and girls, boys and girls who was in relationship with people that their parents didn't agree with, and they just eliminated their parents because they wanted to do what they wanted to do. But when in this situation, it's kind of looked at as like, oh yeah, something had to happen. And I'll take you back to, let's talk. I'll take you back to the movie called Good Son with Macaulay Culkin, where he was just this demon child that was, pretty much trying to, delete his mother. I believe it was his mother, and I think in the movie he did delete his father. And pretty much what happens at the end is that she has to get rid of her son, which she ends up throwing him off the bridge because she was trying to. I think her nephew or cousin came to stay with them, which was about the child's age, and he was trying to delete the child. So the mother had to get rid of her son. But in this situation, it's like, oh well, he had to have been doing something, and that's what I'm talking about. I believe that was to me, in my perspective, that was the purpose in this film, was to look at it in that way, where there was a fear put into his father after the first time that he did this to and after his son did this to him, which also happens with a lot of children, which makes them not tell. There's some type of threat there where they don't want to tell, and that's what I got from the movie. What do you think about that?
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I get your point of view 100%. I see that very clearly. But what was it that, because here's the thing with sexual abuse, right? Okay. There's always going to be a power imbalance, which there isn't in this situation if the son was the perpetrator. The first time, the guy, I'm trying to get it into my mind that the father did not want to do this as the adult with all the power, but then did it because the son, what is it that the son did that created that power disproportion as a younger person? Like, I don't understand that. I can't. Give me what it was that he did. Maybe that'll make it clearer for me, because I hear what you're saying, but I cannot put that.
In the movie, so it was a part it was a part in the movie where at the end where you could hear it with the mom. There's an echo. Can you hear it?
Carry on. I can hear you perfectly fine.
Okay, so there was a part in the movie where the mom, at the end, where the mom said, "What happened that night when you went to prom?" Because when he came
I heard
home,
that.
he was afraid, and and he never was the same afterwards. Like what happened that night. So I believe that whatever took place that night when he graduated. I mean, when he went to his prom.
Okay, so I want to know. I hear what you're saying, but how did it go from 0 to 100? Because I don't understand. Again, please explain it to me. If the father did not do it first, how did he get the father into a place where he's literally being raped?
I don't know.
That's what I want. I need you to explain that bit, because the power dynamic isn't there. I can't see that power dynamic being on the son's side unless the father started it. In which case, I can understand him being terrorized and crying and locking himself in the bathroom, because now it's out of his control. What he started then became out of his control. So now he's locking himself in the bathroom like, oh my God, I've created a monster. Now I
Okay,
get that.
so do you think he did it out of guilt or something?
No, I think he did it out of trying to stop it ever coming out. That's
But
why I think that the father
why do you think
yielded to
never
that
in a
situation.
movie did why do you think never in a movie that the son ever said anything about him ever being abused?
Because he had the power in that situation, and the son is twisted in thinking that this is love.
And
So
mostly
this
in
is why I
brutality.
think, right. So this is why I think that the son never came out and said anything, because perhaps the father was touching on him real young. I don't know that situation. I don't know how it started. They didn't actually show, but it was just implied. But at the stage of the prom, it was clearly out of the father's hands. And this is why he was crying in the bathroom. Because why didn't he just come and tell, his wife that our son is crazy? Why? Because he knew that the secret would come out about him starting that crap in the first place. This is the only thing that could make that power dynamic possible. Otherwise,
I think
why are
that the
you as a
mother knew.
ground
I think
adult?
that the mother knew for a long time. I think that the mother. I don't think that the first time that when we saw, because this is a short film, so clearly we got to piece together all everything else that there. It wasn't
Exactly.
much in the film, so it's up to us to put together what we see in the film. I personally think that the first time was not that she saw this was behind the gate. And even if she never saw anything, she had to know you're gonna know something. As you can see when she said something happened when you was whatever must have been 16 or 17 at this prom, which was years, now he's done graduated college and everything, and he is now getting married. So she done knew this stuff 15 years prior that something happened.
Can I make I just wanted to say something. This I don't care what anyone says. A child is innocent. I know they say, oh, children could be bad and everything, but you're the adult. A child is still has a growing mind, is still growing, and they need to be guided. A situation happened to me where someone told me, and this woman made a comment stating that, and she told a friend of mine that when she breastfeeds that she gets like sexual pleasure from her baby breastfeeding off of when she's getting breastfed. Everybody knows that's not normal. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Like, I'm pregnant now, and that is not normal. I've never heard that happen. So the friend that she told me, and I never called the cops on anybody. I never like report people, but I immediately reported it to the San Francisco Child Protective Services, and she got the child taken away. And I don't play that because I don't play that when it comes to children, because children are very sensitive. Like, we have to protect their hearts and their minds. You could don't do that to something that's so innocent. Wait until they are matured enough, because that can cause a lot of issues. That can cause a child so much psychological damage. So I don't know what this freak could have done to her daughter when she talking about she feels sexual pleasure breastfeeding her child. That is not normal. And no women that and before I reported her, I've asked a whole bunch of women, like, did they ever experience that, and they said no. So I don't play that. I think that the adult is the adult, and the child is children really don't have a say. So you're the adult. You should know better than that.
Exactly. That's my point. It's like the power dynamic isn't there for abuse to occur in the way that it's being portrayed in the film if he didn't start it. There's no power dynamic. It's like, you're my son, you're acting crazy, you need therapy. Get off me. It's really
I
that
think
simple. That is
I
the
definitely
response
think that
that
I definitely
any
think that
man.
there was something that could have been that should have been done earlier, as far as like there, as far clearly there was something going on with the son, and I feel like that his parents didn't do the things that was necessary as far as getting him therapy when he was younger. That's just my opinion, and that they allowed this situation to get out of hand. I do think that.
I can't see any father on the planet allowing that to happen. I
Also,
can't see that on the planet ever. I don't see that being a realistic situation.
I'm a
If
woman
that's
and
the
I
way
have
that it's
sons.
playing.
I'm beating your
Sorry.
ass if you try me. I'm sorry. I'm a woman and I'm gonna beat your ass if I can.
Exactly. And he's a grown man. That's hell no. That is never happening. He has the power in that situation. He doesn't want to do it. If he didn't want to do it, it wouldn't have occurred. End of story. Point blank period. There's no way to twist that.
I also like
Unless,
if we
like
was
I
to put
said,
it in a another thing that happens that I noticed that this has happened with mothers too, where there have been sons who have raped their mother. You know what I'm saying? There's cases of that as well, and in those scenarios, it's always still it was still the parent, that is at fault of this child, you know or what, this young adult or whatever, raping his mother. So
okay. In that scenario, it's different because the boy has the power because he's stronger.
okay.
You see what I mean? It doesn't compare. We're talking man on man. The father is the stronger candidate. So we don't have the physical component as the power imbalance. So it's got to be a mental power imbalance, which means the son must have been touched on the father before, because that would give the power imbalance that allows him to basically reign free from now on out. Okay, that is the only thing that would allow that situation to realistically happen at all, ever.
Yeah. Like I said, I respect everyone's opinion. My opinion stands. I don't believe that was the purpose of. That's not the way that I saw the movie. I believe that it was just written in a way to put adults in children that has been abused shoes. And that's the way that I see it. So I stand with that, but I do respect everybody's opinion, and I think that that was also the purpose of the movie being written the way that it is, for people to have their own perspective. But my perspective is because um, I've dealt with children of abuse for a very long time. I feel that children are very disadvantaged, and a lot of abuse that happened to children is overlooked, and I felt like it was a purpose for this movie to be made, and to put adults in children's shoes, that children are people as well, and that's what I got from the movie.
If that was the interpretation, okay, I get what you're saying, but if that is the interpretation, I think the film is like misleading in I don't want to say irresponsible, but misleading in the portrayal of abuse, because that scenario would never occur. It's just not even possible. Whereas abuse dynamics go, that is not possible. So if that was what they were trying to do, uh, you what
Most men
abuse
that I
just come.
know, most men that I know, they will say, "My son bucked that for me, and I had to get in that ass."
Exactly. That's my
So
point. So that film is basically saying that abuse can happen without any power dynamic whatsoever, and it's just happening. So that's a very irresponsible message. If that is what if that's the message that it was bringing, because there was
it's
no
either
power
that,
dynamic there.
it's either that, or whoever wrote the story, that's what they want to do. It's in their mind or something.
I don't know, but if you're talking about abuse, that's like highly irregular. Like there needs to be a power imbalance in order for abuse to occur. Point blank period. That's the first stop. So without it, you're just basically saying abuse just happens to anybody for anything at any point, and power doesn't matter. And it's a very irresponsible message if that's what the interpretation is, and that's what his intention was.
I could accept the movie better if it was the mother being abused by the son, but the son abusing the father, I can't.
Yeah, exactly. There's no exactly. It's like what? He had to have had something over him to create the power imbalance that is essential for abuse to occur. I know I keep repeating myself, but that is the key here. That's why I kept asking Camo, why? How did it get from 0 to 100? What is it that allowed the father to go, okay, then, even though I really don't want to? What was that?
I think it was left up to us. I think it was left up to us to actually give our own opinion on what we think about it.
I want to stress with your
That was the point
son,
of the
by the
movie.
way. Yeah, I get it. But what I'm saying is, what was it that allowed him to go, okay, then, even though I don't want to, with his seed, with his son? What was it that allowed that to actually happen when he had the power to stop it at any point? And he didn't want to do it. So much so that he was crying in the bathroom. What was it? I need someone to fill in that blank. Because I filled it in with that theory, but if with your theory, I need you to fill in the blank for it to make sense.
Well, you saying why was he crying in the bathroom when his son was beating in the door?
No, that wasn't my question. My question was, what was it that made the father, who had all the power in that situation, according to your theory, go, okay, then, even though he didn't want to do it? What was it?
So like we wasn't there's like I said before, there's parts of the movie that's missing, and I
know,
feel like
but
it's ma'am, you asked me a question and then you started talking. I
Okay, go
already
ahead.
told you what my opinion was. There's on the movie is like 30 minutes. So there's obviously a lot. We don't know what happened whenever this abuse first started. When obviously the first situation, the way that the movie is showing that something happened in between his father picking him up, dropping him up and picking him up from prom. I don't know. I can make an assumption. Well, he had a gun and he forced his, or he had a weapon and he forced his father. There's many things you can make that you can say that. Well, his father did something to him. It's I feel like it's too much going into it. It was up to us to build our own opinion on what we thought was happening in this 30-minute film.
Okay, Camo. Right, I hear what you're saying. And that gun thing, okay, I can take that as a plausible thing. But what I was saying before is you cannot give me that theory without filling in that blank. Because I gave you a theory and all the blanks are filled in. You can't say, oh, well, it just happened. Fill in the blank and give me the full story. Now, if you're going to say, well, the son had a gun, okay, that's a plausible situation. That creates another dynamic. I'm still thinking, but I'm hearing what you're saying with more it being more realistic if you're adding an element. But to just say that the father just did it, sorry, not buying it. There has
I
to be
never
another
said that the
thing to
father
create.
just did it though. I said that the movie was just created to have us see this father in a place of being a victim. That's my opinion.
I know, but my
Now how
question was
how he became a victim, there wasn't anything there for me to see. It's up for us to bring in our own opinions based off our own
exactly.
theory. My theory is one
Exactly.
and yours is a different theory.
Yeah, I'm just saying that your theory had a hole in it, which I was asking you to fill. That's all I was doing. I'm not saying that I don't respect your theory. I'm saying it has a hole in it. Fill it so that it can be more plausible. Because as it stands right now, the son just went from 0 to 100, even though the father had all the power, and it apparently just happened anyway. That's the
Well,
theory
I
you
don't
gave
believe
me,
that
and
it
I'm
went
like, well,
from
I
that.
don't.
I don't believe that it went from 0 to 100. I believe that in between of this, because if in the movie in this 30 minutes it go from this situation in a room to then he's getting married, and then so there's many gaps in it. It obviously there's something that built up to what happened. To me, what I believe that there was inappropriate behavior that was being shown all along, and I believe that the son was ignored when it should have been nipped in the bud when he was younger.
Yeah, but okay, so that I get that. I get that. The son was ignored, the son's crazy, the son's psycho, the son created obsession, blah 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 blah. How did the father get involved? That's my question. How did that happen?
What do you
Because the
mean?
son being
I,
crazy,
I
the
believe
son
that his son had unnatural thoughts about his father. Maybe he
I
had
got
an
it.
unnatural admiration for his father that
Hmm.
needed to be dealt with.
Okay, got that. And that's still on the son. That's still in the son camp. I want to know how they crossed over to the father being involved. That's my question. I told you how it crossed over to the father being involved with my theory. I need you to tell me how it crossed over to the father being involved with your theory, because it has to have a power imbalance. So what was it? That's
I
my
believe
question
that
to
his
you.
son had a unnatural infatuation with his father starting from
All right.
young, and it continued
All
to
right.
build up and build up and build up, and nothing happened. And then when he got to a certain age, something happened where this violent act happened, and then we got to what we saw until the end. That's what I believe.
Okay, there's a lot of black. Okay, thank you.
The lady wants to know at what point, at 25-minute mark, did the man get overtaken? Where, at what point did he lose his power? That's what the lady want to know.
And
What
I
point?
answered it. I've answered it several times, and I said, if
You haven't
something
answered it. This is
happened,
why I keep
I
asking.
did answer it. I said something happened this night where he went to this prom, which was the first time the assault took place. I don't, I
Yeah.
don't
What is it?
how he was able to overpower his father. I don't know because it's not in the movie, but apparently he did overpower his father.
Okay, so all right. So you're just saying something happened. All right.
Something happened. What we do know is that he overpowered his father. How he did
We
it, whether it
don't
was
know
with
that.
a weapon or whatever, my assumption is that's what happened. That's my opinion. The movie was left for us to have our own opinions, and I have mine just like you have yours.
Okay.
So, Camo, what you're saying is you need more information to be concrete with what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, I get that. I get it. I understand because I sometimes I don't want to just assume something, even though it's left out. Nope, I don't want to assume. So I get where you're coming from.
All right, welcome to the stage, Darnell. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing all right, DJ Torch. How about yourself?
Doing nice, doing chill.
Ladies on the panel, how y'all doing?
Hello, Donnell.
So have you been watching a little bit?
I'll be honest with you. I just joined my headset was dead. It was on the charger, so I just
Got
joined.
it. No problem. No problem. Yeah, it would be hard for you to understand what we're talking about because we watched a clip or a short story or a short movie, whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
and we're just talking about it. Um, I could get an idea on what you think about this spot right here, though. Let's go over this.
Okay.
Okay, just to give you a situation. The father was just run over by a truck and passed away.
Mm.
And basically, they're grieving right now, and they're about to have a conversation about some weird things that happened in the past.
Okay. It's based on her facial expression. I'm assuming the father did something to her as a child.
No.
Okay.
Wait. That's his. This is okay. I should explain it better. Okay, it's the guy here you see in the picture here
Yeah.
is this guy's son. I mean, this guy right here is this guy's father. The guy
Okay.
and this is his son. That and the woman in the pic that you saw, I know black don't crack, but she's actually his mother as well.
Okay.
The light skinned woman right here. You'll see it. You'll see her coming in. I'm gonna
Okay.
start it.
I want to ask you something, Isaiah.
How long have you been standing there? How are you holding up?
Why was your father crying when he drove you home from prom night?
I'm sorry?
On your prom night, when he brought you back home,
What about it?
he was crying.
Was he?
He was crying, and he wouldn't look at me.
Are you being serious?
He locked himself in the bathroom, and he just cried, and he cried all night with the sink running.
I don't remember that at all.
Is that when it started?
That was 10 years ago. How am I supposed to remember what happened one night?
Prom night?
Which was 10 years ago. That's a pretty long time to remember what your father did at a specific time on a specific night.
It started earlier. I know that. When did it start?
Mom, you're emotional. I'm emotional. We are not ourselves. You don't even know what you're trying to say.
I know exactly what I am trying to say.
Well, I don't. But I think it's pretty ugly what you seem to be saying, and I think you would agree if you could hear yourself.
You monster. You killed your own father. How could you?
What? Wait.
Get off of me!
I'm warning you, Mom.
You don't warn me!
I loved him better than you ever did.
You sick! Sick! Sick!
Okay, I'll pause it right there because basically that I went too far. I should have stopped it when they started fighting. So basically, this Darnell, this is kind of like a quiz. What do you think's going on?
It sounds Um, and how I want to keep it as clean as possible.
Okay.
Um, but I'm detecting there was some kind of um grape going on.
You could say that.
Maybe the father might have been, graping the son at some. There's two different things. It's kind of short so far, but two different scenarios here. Um, the father may have graped the son at one time, or whatever have you, and it sounds like he got his prom night. He gets his revenge, perhaps.
That's actually a strong possibility. That's actually good interpretation. What do you what is panel? What do you think?
And if you listen, if you hear what she says after she talks about prom night and the father crying, she then
Yeah.
kind of gives him some grace and says, it happened. It started before that, though. Do you know what I mean? Which means it started when he was younger, even younger
Right.
still. So the prom night is not the marker of when it started. So she kind of gave him some grace in that conversation to be like, yeah, I know he was crying, I know he was devastated, but I know that this had been happening beforehand, which means he
Right.
was younger still. So again, that power imbalance is on the father's side. And like Thingy says, it sounds like he got his revenge.
And then remember, the son told the mother that was 10 years ago. How would one supposed to remember what their father did?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Because clearly the son is fully invested in the relationship being normal by this point. You know what I mean? So he doesn't even see like the prom thing as him taking the power back. Do you know what I mean? Because he's like that, like involved, or maybe he
Right.
does see. I don't know. Maybe he does see, but maybe I should just backtrack on that bit. Maybe he does see, but the point is, it happened beforehand. So what? Prom is 16. So we're going into childhood now. How did the son over the child overpower the father to get him to do something he doesn't want to do? And the mother knew about it beforehand and turned a blind eye until she couldn't turn a blind eye anymore. And the father's in the bathroom crying.
Ugh.
That's my
Right.
theory.
Yeah, the fact that she turned up the TV instead of calling the police or something when she heard the screaming tells you she
Exactly.
knows. Yeah.
That's another thing. It's like, okay, I'm going to turn a blind eye to the situation. It's going on. So she clearly been doing that since he was young because she knew it started before prom.
Very much so.
So if we put all those pieces together, the child couldn't have been the perpetrator in that situation initially.
Okay, so what you're saying is that okay. That's I mean, the thing is this is that, yeah. I mean, somehow the child became a monster and it's just yeah, yeah, I see that. Somehow they became a monster. What you're saying is that somehow um actually it kind of coincides with what Camel was saying is that we don't have enough there's not enough tape to know why it went awry or why the dynamic changed, which is so you almost I can see almost everybody's point of view because
The only thing
it's
that
almost a dynamic that's almost impossible to happen. Like
the only
yeah.
thing that the only thing I'm going to say it again, the only thing that could have shifted that dynamic is the secret that he started it. That is the only thing.
And he did not want it to get out so bad that he let his kid do it.
Exactly. He let the kid take control. That is the only thing, because what man in their right mind is going to do that? And it started earlier when he was younger. So how did the son, who's a child, overpower the father? Unless the father was mentally unstable.
Well, you also have to remember too. They say prom night, right? So he's 16 by this point. You know.
Yeah, and it happened before. Exactly, that's my point. And it happened before that. So he hasn't even he probably hadn't even hit puberty when it started. Because 16, okay, maybe he was going through, I don't even know. My point is, you're not strong enough to overpower your father at those ages. So
I do know girls hit puberty at around, on average, it's 14. Boys, I believe it's 15 or 16. We hit puberty a little bit later than girls.
Okay, so in that, he didn't have the strength to overpower his father in that situation. So the only thing that really could have got that power flipped is the secret. And the reason why the son doesn't see it as anything's wrong with it is because the father started it. Do you see what I mean? Like the grooming happened, so the son thinks it's normal.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean? That's the only, if you're looking at the dynamic full circle, like you're saying that you need more information, but you really don't if you look at all the clues.
Okay, let me play the spot right here where they get into that argument.
Okay, go ahead.
And what's that? Another book of yours? Are you asking me to get upset?
I'm not asking you anything.
Well, I'm asking you.
I'm just leaving.
This is pathetic, Dad. If you want me to apologize, I'll apologize. And I am sorry about what happened last night. And I did go too far. But what about you? Am I totally alone here? Am I just this abusive monster and you're some sad, helpless victim? Or does it take two to tango? Because I think it does. And if I've done anything, you've done it with me. Don't shake your fucking head at me! Everything I've ever done has been for you and for you and for you, and to what end? I didn't ask for this. This is your thing, something you started. But I'm here now, and I'm in it, and I've given myself, and I've accepted you completely. But you are not just my father.
Bingo. Did you hear that?
You're my best friend.
Yeah.
This was your thing. This is something you started.
Right.
Key. That's imperative right there.
So was the father
he's-
his prom date? Like
No, I just think, well, he says this is your thing, this is something you started, and this coincides with what the mother said about it starting before prom, which confirms, he was younger, the father started it, and then prom night, he was like, he just flipped the script on him. And then what was he gonna do? He was driving him home or something like that. But what was he going to do? Come out and tell people that he was touching on his son for how many years? He's not going to do that.
Right. But, you know, and to that point, I do agree that the father did start. And I even stated that earlier. I think the father, you know, when he was younger, probably sexually abused his boy. And his boy just, you know, some kind of way he just became, that he chose to take power. He decided to.
I'm gonna play the beginning one more time just to
And
give everybody the idea.
if you listen to what he says about, I accepted you as you are. I accepted all of you as you are. So you started it, and I accepted you and all of you as you are. So that's two things right there that nobody else knows about clearly. And he's obviously got some kinks that the father, that the son accepted young.
Okay, I'm going to play the beginning. Miss RV wants everyone to see this part. Here we go.
All right, shoes on, Mister.
Wait, don't.
Jeez.
I'm cleaning in
I
here.
knocked. Kiddo, how we doing in there, buddy? I'm sorry I just barged in like that to your personal space. Shouldn't have. Can I come in for a second? Isaiah, is it okay if I come in?
Yeah,
Yes, then. Come in.
yeah.
I didn't see anything. Listen, kiddo. And everyone's entitled to their.
Do you do it?
Well, everybody does.
So you do it then.
I mean, it's common. Yeah. It's something that's natural to do for all people. And all people deserve to have their boundaries respected. And that's where I crossed the line. So I'm sorry if this is weird, but I just wanted to make sure you weren't feeling ugly and like this was ugly. And hide it under the rug and let it become something taboo between us. You know what taboo is?
Yes.
Well, now it won't be, because we talked about it and it's out in the open.
Okay.
I am sorry if this is weird.
It's not.
Oh, good. It shouldn't be. Well, I'll leave you to it then.
Dad. I love you.
I love you back.
Jesus. That's not normal. I mean, the dad had to do something to him when he was even younger. That's just not normal.
No, it's not.
And how the dad was rubbing on him, that was inappropriate. Right after a masturbation session, you
Yeah.
should have left and came back the next day and talked to him. But then you rubbing on him. You've done some stuff. Had he been on prom at this point?
Yeah.
What? I'm sorry. Say again.
Had he been on prom at this point? He haven't went to prom
I don't know if he had been to the prom yet.
because the daddy was not afraid to
No,
go in the room, baby. He
no,
wasn't afraid
no.
to rub on him.
I don't think this was prom night yet. I think this is before prom night. I think this is probably when the kid is probably 12, somewhere between I'm guessing 12 to 14, because that's usually you start figuring out your stuff as a boy.
Okay. But the dad wasn't afraid then at that point. But somehow afraid, but he wasn't
But
afraid at that point because he was
Yeah.
touching on him.
Yeah. It
I,
looked
I
like
wanted to
everything fell
know.
apart.
I wanted to know, like, okay, so the dad, the lady LW, she had a point. The dad, okay, he has his, even though he's a kid, he's doing what he has to do and beating his meat or whatever to, but his he's aroused. Why would you couldn't have just said, oh, okay, oh, it's my bad, son, I'll come back later and close the door. Made it look like, you didn't really see what was going on, and then just
See,
like
this
even
part of the
locked the
movie,
door.
I didn't grasp it first. All I remember was they were talking about the son taking advantage of the dad and how that was a big uproar about that when I first heard this movie.
I didn't even hear what he said. He said when you first heard the movie, what?
When I first heard about the movie on social media many years ago, they making it seem like it was I don't know how they make it seem like it was the son that came for the dad first, but
Oh, okay. I wonder what the guy that wrote this movie looked like. He must really be a weirdo.
No, no,
or
he
this
looks
might have
normal.
been something he said might have been something he went through or somebody he knew went through and they talked about it with him.
Yeah, that's
But
a
how could the
possibility.
father be a punk like that? I mean, what I would try to get my if that was even my daughter or my son, and I knew that they had some type of like mental issues going on where they felt as though they get some type of sexual arousement off of me, I would do anything in my power to get them psychological help until it's like, the problem is no longer there because he was young enough to have healed whatever situation what was going on with him psychologically. He could have like easily if he got the proper help, but this movie is just like
If
it's
I'm
insane.
abusing you, do you think I'm gonna call and get you some help?
Exactly. That's
No,
what I was getting ready to say. I'm not going to get you any kind of help or any counseling if I'm abusing you. You know.
exactly.
I never heard of nothing like this come from black people growing up to now. Never.
Well, the guy that wrote it was white.
Mm.
So I mean,
And
I've never experienced that,
that's some kind
white
of
or
sick
black.
kink. That's a sick kink for white people. But I know incest go on with some black people and some black people in certain parts of Africa, but that's not coming for black Americans.
I
I
agree with
know,
that
right?
because if it was black people, I think the dad would have killed the son a long time ago to shut his mouth. So this had to be some other people's stuff because he just let him do that. No, I don't see brothers doing that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you're at this point. You're at this point. What are you going to do? You're going to call 911, say, my son did this to me. No, especially when you're complicit, you probably raised him, because we're all under the assumption that he was probably abusing the son at an early age, right? So now the son hits the growth spurt and now has power over his father.
I
So
remember I remember not too long ago I was watching one of the Michi X lives and she said this happened with one of her cousins and one of the older females in the family, how the older female essayed the boy when he was younger. But when the boy got older, he essayed the auntie or whoever Becky, and she said that guy wound up in prison for a long time after that.
yeah, yeah, but
What happened
I
to
mean
the
that's
lady?
I don't know what Michi X said because that video came out around the time the Polite incident, well, right when Polite got locked up like a couple of months ago. That's when
who
she came out with that video.
who
Michi X.
I don't know who that is.
So the lady did the son of the guy when he was younger, and then when
Mm-hmm.
he got older, he did somebody, and he got locked up, and she got away.
He did the great the grand the auntie or whatever,
Mm.
Hmm.
and then the
So
No, no,
guy who did it got
I've been
locked
listening.
up.
I'm, I'm listening.
Unfortunately, the lady who the grand auntie who started the essay when the guy was younger sadly got away with it.
Yeah, Bridget says this. Bridget says, so this is a white man writing a foul story about black people. Actually, this is actually light compared to what this guy usually writes. If you've watched Hereditary or Midsummer's Light, it gets real rough in those movies. So I do understand your point of view, Bridget. I think this was just something it
Sorry,
might
but
have
that's
been
not
written.
count.
You want to know something?
Yes, they do have it to
Because
boys too, but it's not talked about.
you know, this is a dynamic that I think might be more common in the Caucasian culture where the son takes over the father. Actually witnessed that when I was growing up. But so there's that. I mean, I'm not saying this never happens with black men because it does, but um that's probably one perspective. So you have to at least give the producer credit for allowing actually, if you ask me, the acting was amazing. It it was if they wanted to make us feel creeped out, they sold that, if you know what I mean. So, but yeah, I think it's the blending of a lot of perspective. I'll say one thing, it's thought provoking because we stopped playing the movie probably about an hour and a half ago and we're still talking about it. Oh, let me play one more scene. I'm going to stop it before it gets creepy though. Here we go.
Oh my god.
We know what
y'all
you
take
saw,
the
right?
y'all take the parts of this movie I ain't seen yet. It was just I seen a little glimpse of it. And now
Harlem says
y'all
this
going
isn't
into
too far
detail.
fetched. Actually, I've heard stories more horrific. Yep.
What I don't understand. This is 2023, right? You
And I
have
think
all types of like you can like sow your oats. You have all types of things. You can have sex with clowns. You can have orgies, menage a whatever. They have all types of things. You don't have to like. You telling me that you can't control yourself around your own siblings? Like you have to like you they have role playing places. Like the passport bros go to brothels overseas. Like I don't understand why people are just sick and depraved.
this movie came out back in 2011. I think.
Well, everyone has their own kinks and fetishes.
Yeah, you right about that, but
I mean, I watched
But
CNN
that's where
actually.
role play comes in. You don't have to like what you know the amount of damage you're gonna do. Imagine if it was your son or you touching your son or your daughter. What type of
oh, trust me, that happens a lot in the black community. That's a part. That's something a lot of people don't like to talk about.
I think it
Talk about
personally
these
you should.
spaces.
I think it happens in every community, but
It does.
but I mean, but the thing is that to some, it's. I know you're talking about role play places and things like that. To some people, it's just not real, and they're not aroused by it. I watched a documentary on CNN. Lisa Lang, she was a reporter for CNN. And I had found out there are people that get turned on by the popping of balloons.
What?
Balloons, like popping balloons. Balloons. When you pop it, there are people that
Okay.
fantasize and they get aroused by balloons. They like rubbing themselves against balloons, and I'm not going to become graphic, but what happens. After
I
then they
heard of
pop.
something like that too.
Hmm. There's people that are into furry animals.
Oh
It's a
god.
criminal offense when you have incest is not a normal. We don't normally, unless it's something psychologically off with us, and we're going through a deep seated psychological situation.
Mhm.
Incest is not like the norm. Like
It ain't.
Well,
But have you heard? I
at
heard
one
of
time,
stories of
I'm
people,
sorry. Go ahead.
women getting pregnant by their own fathers
Hmm.
in real life. Cause I think that's what happened to Aretha Franklin too.
I didn't know it happened to her. I didn't know it happened to
It
her. I
talked
have
about.
to
I
look at
think it talked about that in her movie that Just for Hudson played in.
it. But I do know in ancient times it actually, believe it or not, was actually a normal thing, especially among the upper class families. You ever heard of the term blue blood?
I ain't heard of that.
Blue bloods. Basically, it was people that practiced incest. Usually, they were noblemen during the medieval time period. What they wanted to do was keep the bloodlines pure. So
Yeah, but that causes mental retardation. It's been backed
they
by scientific proof.
they didn't know that at the time.
So that just goes to show that it's not normal that the kids, if you keep going through incest for one generation, all of your well, I say two generation, no, one generation is like 100 years, then everybody would be walking on all fours. Your whole lineage would literally be walking on all fours and had like regressed back into like the Neanderthal stages. But
Okay,
that's a
everybody, pause
different
for one
story.
second. I'm going to play the second part because H.T. Baldwin brought up a good point. I want to see this part to maybe emphasize on his opinion. Here we go, right here. Okay, we know what happened, right? So we don't have to worry. I don't need to go back any further. We know what happened. So let's keep going. Okay, you see it's traumatic. She knows she's not feeling this. She's very upset, but she gains herself, right? She gets her composure. And watch this part right here.
Honey, would you go get your father? Dinner's up.
Swept it right under the rug, right?
Shall I help set the table?
Oh, that's okay. Everything's under control.
I think that's what H.C. Baldwin was talking about, is like he's pretending it never happened.
I seriously thought she was gonna poison the father. Like that's what I would have done, but I thought she was gonna like put something in his food after seeing that. But
Mm.
Oh, Miss RV, she has a real good comment there.
Yeah, look at the people treated Terry Crews. What about Diddy's male victims? Yep.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I remember hearing about Terry Crews going before Congress saying that he got, because earlier it was said as a man, you're not going to allow yourself to be, graped
right.
by another man. And
But it was
Terry
a power
Crews,
dynamic. Yep.
yeah, he's a big guy. Terry Crews is a big, muscular guy that could have handled himself, I'm sure. You know, and as he gave his answer, look, I'm a black man in Hollywood. You know, you just, if
I
I
don't
want to
think it
work,
went that far, but I think it almost. I think it didn't go that far, but it almost did.
mm-hmm.
but a lot of times, like um when men grape other men, like do we talking about grown men? It's more so about dominance and control. That's what grape is, period, whether it's a man or a woman. But most of the time, like when you're in prison,
Mm-hmm.
well, yeah, well, not jail but prison, like when you're in prison, guys just want to like it's about dominance. It's
Yeah.
about dominating you and show, because you can psychologically mess that other man up. Well, he will be subservient to you, and I don't know. I'm not a man. Am I right? I mean,
Well, here's the issue. Like, I'll tell you a story that happened to me. No, it wasn't a great story or anything, but
oh,
I
I
did
thought
have
you
it.
said.
No, 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 no. It wasn't that, but it was, in my opinion, equally as bad. When I was in Djibouti, Africa. It's in the Horn of Africa for those of y'all that don't know what Djibouti is. But I had to deal with a racist white supervisor. And this guy, he was racist, wanted to fire me. I ended up filing a complaint. He tried to fight me one day, you know, called me a punk, you know, and tried to fight me one day, you know, and I remember throwing my hands up. I said, no, sir, I don't want to fight you, you know. Basically, you guys would probably say I did a bitch move, or I'm sorry, a weak move. I wasn't a man, you know. But in my opinion, I had a six-figure paying job, you know, and I had another way of getting back at him. I used corporate. I filed a complaint, you know. Anyway, the investigation was done, and they wanted to drop everything. You know, he made allegations against me. I made allegations against him. They wanted to drop it. Well, later on, he picks another fight with me. He kept bringing up race over and over, and I'm gonna fast forward to the important part. One day, it was in September of 2016. He comes after me. He accuses me of either stealing internet or hogging bandwidth. You know, I was playing video games online, and he was accusing. You know, it was our day off, and we're staying in the company villa. You know, he accuses me of stealing internet or the bandwidth or whatever. You know, I just said, man, I don't feel like hearing your bullshit today. And I walked to my room. Next thing I know, this guy is hurling racial and obscenities at me, screaming at me, demanding I come out and fight. You know, saying, yeah, you scared, Darnell, you scared. I wasn't scared. It's just I just wasn't trying to, you know, get involved in no N-word crap, you know, where I know I'm going to get fired. He's a white supervisor. I'm a black man, and I already know he wants to fire me. You know. Anyway, long story short, he calls me the N-word. You know, he calls me the
would have knocked
N-word.
him out the first time. Soon as he would have opened it, soon as he would have parted his lips to even finish the N-word word, I would have just knocked him out. I mean, I would have said, "Screw you in this job." I'm
Well,
a woman. So.
he also had a knife. You know, he was simulating stabbing me in the gut. You know.
Why didn't you get your camera phone and record all this and take it to corporate?
To be honest
That's
with
what
you,
camera phones are for.
because I was also guilty of calling him a racist redneck.
But he had a knife. All that goes out the window. I mean, what? You weren't guilty. He had a knife.
I know. I know, but I was scared about things that I had said, you know, and I let that fear, you know, I let the fear get to me, and that's why I didn't report it. I didn't report the second incident.
Well, you got to focus. That's why he took advantage of you, because he was a
He
fat,
did.
nasty, racist redneck. And,
Yep.
you know, he probably was miserable. His wife probably didn't want to be with them sexually. He probably was just had nothing to live for, you know, and you should have just if you ain't want to fight, if you wanted to be the good guy, you should have just recorded him, like set him up. Next time you have plenty of opportunities to record. They didn't have cameras around the area.
I have there's no camera other than my cell phone, but I did have two cell phones, a personal and a company phone that I could have recorded them. But when I started calling him names, like I said, calling a white guy a redneck, for example, that is considered a racial slur in the government.
Wait a minute. Do you mean to tell me he had a knife and they don't have any cameras around your building? What year was this? 1960? I mean, they didn't have any cameras or any type of recording equipment where they can see him pulling out the knife on you.
This was Djibouti. I mean, and then it took place inside the house, so there was no cameras inside. I mean, there's no cameras on the premises, really.
But you said he said, "Come outside, Darnell. You a punk." He was outside, so they didn't have any.
No, he was inside the house, but he was outside. I locked myself. I barricaded myself in my room. We had our own personal rooms.
I would have just kicked him in the nuts for calling me the N-word anyway. I mean,
no.
That's
but
crazy.
the point of the story is that I failed to report it. Next thing I know, it was used against me, and it was one of the things that really screwed me up in life. That's when I began drinking heavily. Started, I just couldn't get it out of my head. I mean, I had bad dreams for the longest time.
You have a guilt complex. You have to put yourself first, Darnell. I mean, to
Yeah,
heck with these people. They don't care about you.
that's yeah.
Why do you have such a guilt complex about you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, even though they hurt your feeling? Why is it that you put other people before yourself? Where's
Because
that gotten you in life?
in the Bible it states to turn the other cheek.
Yeah, but so a guy is trying to plunge at you with a knife. You gonna turn the other cheek and let him stab you instead of like trying to do. Don't they teach you self defense techniques or something? I don't. Don't you have a gun?
No, I did not. No, I was unarmed at the time.
Well, I thought in
But
the army you're supposed to shoot first and ask questions later, but I guess I was wrong. I don't know.
in this case, like I said, I was unarmed. I mean, because it's not like especially Djibouti, you don't walk around carrying. Djibouti, if it was Iraq, it would have been a different story. Iraq, Iraq or Afghanistan, you keep your weapon on you at all times. But the point is that
They don't
I felt
teach you like if he was a soldier, right?
no, we were both civilian at this time. We were both DoD civilians.
Let's
DOD.
pause
I
that
thought
for
you
a
said
minute.
you was in the military.
Let's pause that for
I,
a minute. Let's
I
pause
got
that
out
for a
and
minute. We're digging too deep into logistics about the military situation. I want to break it down like this. This is um, a presser or release for this movie. It goes, Astor shot Johnson's while still a film student, and even though it's a student project, it's not hard to see why it made a splash. So he made this. This is one of his first movies. This movie actually got this guy um, to. This made the young man a star. So let's put it that way. So that's how well it did. Let me go on. It starts in a place of extreme distress. A father accidentally walks in on his son invading. Luckily, this this is the most understanding dad of all time who immediately tries to put his son at ease. This is something everyone does. But after heartfelt I love yous are exchanged and the tension appears to be been diffused, we see that his son has, oh God, been masturbating to a photo of his dad. Okay, we know that. I want to get to the meat of this. A decade later, the son's wedding. Um, let me find out where it says the good stuff. Okay, here we go. This family dynamic, because we've already seen the dynamic in the movie, so I don't want to read stuff and bore everybody because it'll just see we already saw it. This family dynamic might seem familiar to hereditary fans, repressed secrets. And if you've seen Hereditary, you know what's up. Inevitable violence. Remember the famous monologue Colette delivers to her son at the dinner table, cruelly blaming him for the family's shared tragedies. Even as she claims, wait, let me make this bigger so I can read it easier. Hold on. Here we go. Okay.
Somebody sleep
Somebody
at
sleep.
7:30.
Okay.
Oh, my bad. That was probably me dozing off a little bit.
Oh.
Okay. So, okay. Wait. Okay. Okay, my eyes are so bad. Okay, hold on. Okay, so here we go. Finally. Inevitable violence. Remember the famous monologue Colette delivers to her son at the dinner table, cruelly blaming him for family's shared tragedies, even as the claims to the movie more claims to be the more loving one. Okay, so she claims Johnson's contains an even more perverse version of that scene. Okay, I got to find out what they're talking about here. Oh, yeah, that was creepy. Okay, okay. Scene. After the son discovers his dad's attempted letter of confession, that's quite a letter. It was 300 pages. He soon he too delivers an accusatory monologue made even more disturbing for how sinisterly it appropriates the language of care. So basically, I think that was that I loved him more than you could ever blah blah blah. But he was forcing his father to do weird things. Let's just put it that way. They almost This almost makes it seem like Ari Aster invented A24 brand elevated horror, whatever A24 means. Back in 2011, before A24 even existed. But wait, what is A24? Holy moly. Okay. If anybody knows what A24 is, please put it in the chat. But wait, what did Aster do for the years between that short and this, his first feature? Okay, that's short in his first feature. Well, the answer is he made many more shorts and they complicate the picture. Okay. The strange thing about the Johnson has long been Astor's best known short. Though new attention is being paid to Bo, which is his upcoming feature. This is probably a couple years ago because it's long been released. Is based on. Wait a minute! Is being paid attention to Bo, which is the upcoming feature. Bo is Afraid is based on, and which A24 has recently taken off the internet. Uh-oh. Okay, somebody lost it. Okay. Off the internet. Bo is horror, but of a more absurd variety about an extremely anxious man who's, okay, now it's going into something else. Surreal paranoia over his stolen house keys turns out to be quite justified. Okay. So that's basically the whole scoop here. All of Astor's shorts shared, oh my God, macabre, macabre sensibilities, as well as heightened, focused aesthetics approach. But most would not considered horror. Well, this is horror to me. The way you can view this, you can view this as horror easily. There's Munchens. Come on, James, you know German. Munchausen, the dialogue-free tale of the. Okay, he's going into other movies he's made. Okay, so it's going into other movies. Read this right here. So Astor's full body of work contained a wild variety of styles and tones. Cynically, you might wonder if his return to Johnson-style family horror was an opportunistic, if well-timed attempt to leverage an existing trend. Okay. So basically, absurdism is basically simply the word that it's explained as. If anybody want to chime in, feel free to do so, but I just want to read a little bit of this. This is on Collider, just in case you want to read it. This is the artist of the movie. Is everybody asleep on the stage?
No. I was just listening to what you were reading.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I
You
kind of
know
butchered it
German, DJ Torch?
a little bit.
Say something in German.
Ich habe Gage.
Oh my God. That was a real German word.
Ich bin sprachlos. What does that mean?
I don't know.
I'm I'm surprised.
No, I don't
What did
speak.
he
That's
say?
the one language I don't speak is German.
Well, you
What did
asked
he
me, so
say?
I said something. You know.
Yeah, I know a few words. I know sprechen Sie Deutsch, guten Abend, guten Tag. I know a few words, but not
I'm
many.
just so disturbed by what Darnell was saying. Like I'm scared for you, Darnell. Like don't go out the house. I mean, you're
I don't
just
know.
too
I think
nice.
I think I think Donnell did the right thing.
I know, but this world is crazy. He's too nice. You don't want.
That's
He might let somebody beat him up just because he don't want to fight back. And it's crazy
no.
people.
No, he
He's
didn't
gonna
attack me.
barricade himself. He's not. He's gonna
Yeah,
barricade himself.
yeah, he didn't
Oh,
attack me. He was trying to provoke me into attacking him. He was trying to prove that I was this out of control, angry black man. That's what his whole thing
well,
was.
Darnell, I'm gonna pray. Everybody pray that Darnell find a wife soon so she could protect him or something.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because he need like a partner or something to like make sure he don't get himself in trouble.
Yeah, I do
But
the best
Don,
I can to avoid trouble. Believe it or
yeah.
not, I do the best I can. Um,
But Donnell, did you hear what she said? You need a wife to protect you.
yeah,
Yeah, but see, it's not a lot of he likes exotic. Well, there's a lot of exotic women in Texas. There's a lot of Latina women over there that's um
well, I live in Arizona, but
oh yeah,
uh,
even better. I used to live in Arizona. There's Latina women, there's women. There's a lot of beautiful women in Arizona.
yeah, I mean, yes, there are. The only thing is, well, I promise not to talk about it anymore. But I have a condition, and I can't be the provider and protector, and I know this.
So
You
what
know,
I mean, if you don't mind, we're your friends. Like you could tell us, well, what is it that like is it post traumatic is it depression?
well, I mean, I have that too. Depression. I have PTSD. But
Okay.
the thing that stops me is the fact that one day I'm sorry, Miss Angelina, but I know you told me to stop saying this, but I'm gonna say it one more time. This will be the last time I'm gonna say it. But I was diagnosed with glaucoma, and I know for a fact I'm going.
Yeah, well, PTSD could be treated with antidepressants. Like one of them that I know a family member who is in on Paxil, but
Mhm.
I don't know if you want to like a lot of people want to go holistic, but like it could be treated. It could be treated and suppressed. Like it could
Yeah,
even be it could go away. It's post traumatic stress disorder. Um and a lot of times like this exactly to comes to the point um
mhm.
this oh, DJ saying thanks, Ellen. Okay, I'm gonna shut up. Let me okay, so no, I was just saying that.
I was saying thanks to you telling me about the A24 thing.
Oh, okay. So no, I was saying that this type of things, a lot of these things are suppressed in like, especially black men, young black boys, like being raped or molested, and that
Mhm.
causes PTSD. Like you
Yeah, it
hold
does.
it, you've been traumatized. Being traumatized, whether it was purposely or just an event that happens, causes post traumatic stress disorder. And glaucoma, I don't think it's a cure for glaucoma, but you could use your other senses. You've been um seeing all of your life. Like what are
Yeah,
you, like 30? You've been seeing all of your life. So you
37.
can use your other senses. I mean, that's not going to deter you from a beautiful woman or a woman in general wanting you, glaucoma. I mean, and then the PTSD thing, like I said, that could be treated with medication.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah. The PTSD. Yes, you're right. That's treated with medication. Like I said, I do seek therapy. I've made it known that I do receive therapy. And matter of fact, I'll go ahead and level with you. Um, I'm already on. I've been on Paxil for years.
Oh, see,
So
okay, so that is a good medicate that does treat PTSD, and it does help you, right?
yes, it does. It does. But as far as my glaucoma, just like you had said though, like I've been used to having the gift of sight all my life, right? And you know, the thing is that when you lose it, it's like, okay, now I'm going to be as helpless as a baby. Put yourself in the shoes of a woman, you know, that's interested in me. One day I lose my sight. You know what I'm saying? I can't be that provider for you. I can't be that protector. You're going to have to protect me. You're going to have to, I do have a pension, but it's only $2,000 a month. I can get on SSI that might add another 1,000, maybe 2,000. But at that point, I'm making basically the money of say a bus driver. So basically, I'm
Yeah.
at that point, I'm the bus driver. You see
But
what I'm
look
saying?
at all
I'm not.
these dusties that's getting women. They not making nothing. The only thing they bring to the table is a PlayStation 4. I mean, look, you can't be so. Plus, there's a lot of women in Arizona who are like from Mexico, and
Mhm.
they just want a man that's a you don't even have to make that much money to like satisfy them. You
Yeah.
know, you already got a big old house, so okay. Let me just we're getting off a topic, but this is everybody pray that Darnell finds somebody, please.
Okay, here we
Well,
go.
Donnell,
I
can I ask
appreciate
you a
it.
quick question?
Yes, sir. You may.
Why
Ma'am.
do you feel, yeah, ma'am, why do you feel
Oh,
like you're being pushed into a woman's shoes?
well, first of all, let me apologize. You corrected me. You said, "Ma'am," right? I
Yes,
apologize. I apologize.
no
First of all,
problem. No
okay,
problem. I know I have a deep voice. It's okay though.
okay. I'm sorry. I
Hmm.
meant no disrespect, but
I know.
I don't. It's not that I feel like I'm being put in a woman's shoes or anything. It's just I know for a fact I'm going to be as helpless as a child. Okay. Um, I can't be, as I said, I can't be that strong man. I can't be that provider anymore. I can't defend. All my guns. I have plenty of guns. I mean, right now I can defend the house, but when I lose my eyesight, I can't defend the house anymore.
Why are you
Okay.
claiming that? How do you know you're going to lose it?
Because I was diagnosed with glaucoma. There's no
That don't
cure
mean anything. You still can see now, right?
for now. Yes.
Right. So how do you know the creator not going to leave you right there? Stop claiming when you go blind, when you do this. You don't know if you will get there. Speak positive. That's all, brother.
I understand, ma'am. But yeah, glaucoma is
Okay.
a
Let's just we can stop. We can go. We got to move forward. But
yes, sir.
Okay.
I appreciate. We know about the glaucoma situation. It could be 10 years, 15 years, 30 years.
Exactly.
Depending. Okay. So basically, I think what we're trying to tell you is what Quita is trying to tell you, and I'm trying to tell you is you're basically basing your life on something that may not even make you might pass away before your glaucoma kicks in. So I guess that's what I'm saying. But anyway, going to try not to I'm going to try not to butcher this, but best known for today for Midsummer and Hereditary, AFI Conservatory graduate, Ari Aster, horror drama, The Strange Thing Happened to Johnson can perhaps be better understood today than it was 10 years ago as it released in 2011. As much as the film appears to be an extreme to a point absurd, to the point absurd on closer look, Astor has hit the nail on its head. Through the lens of sexual abuse essay, the film explores the underbelly of neat, manicured suburbia, power dynamics, victimhood, and the labyrinth nature of complicity. One might find a hint of Tim Burton in the contrast to the neat neighborhood and the different shades of rot everyone is happy to brush under their expensive carpet. I'm going to leave it right there. But that's basically the gist of the movie. Um, Violent, frightening essay reduces a man to a mask of constant fear. Sound design brilliantly conveys this. While the closet alley watches in silence, mostly ill equipped to handle the confrontation, but also generally unwilling to try. Astor's shrewd setup establishes character and tensions that they contend will very early in the film in a way that surprises and horrifies viewers but gets them hooked effectively. For 30-minute film, not a line or frame is out of place, showing the merits of the filmmaker who is still in their creative infancy. So yeah. This article, if you want to read it, is Indie Shorts Mag team. Something tells me this movie is going to be very well remembered. Now, they will go on to some other stuff. It looks like he's reading some. Yeah. Okay. Performances by Billy Mayo, Brandon Greenhouse, and Angela Bullock are grounded in realism, and it's impossible to pick the superior. Each in their own way plays with shame, fear, hurt, and for Mayo and Bullock, devastating trauma. Bullock's character emerges in the true character arc, while for most of the film she grew silently on the sidelines, and it's through her that the film shows you how much people can be shaken and how well they refuse to change beyond a point. When in the end she burns the evidence of abuse, she effectively erases the last cry for help of a voice that had already been long silent. Bars. Yeah. Miss Bullock sold that. I wonder what other let's see what other movies Angela was been in. I'll check the other guys too. Angela Bullock. Copy. Actress. Pretty. Actor, writer, over 20 years experience. Here we go. This will tell everything we need to know. Okay. Known for Chronic, Me Original Webs, The Escort, Cooties, NCIS Los Angeles. Now, okay. General Hospital. Damn, that's old school. Unremarkable, The Connors, Eric and Andre Show. Shameless. Wait, how old is she?
I was about to ask.
Let's
She's
see.
been around for a minute.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's like Angela. Wait a minute.
You know her?
No,
Oh my gosh,
she's
she's 67.
67 years old.
67.
No way.
6'7".
Wow, she looks good.
Talk about black don't crack.
She looks good.
Oh my God, I thought she was like 47.
I thought she was
Right.
in her 40s too.
She's almost there.
So she was like 50 when she made the movie. Wow. Black do not crack. Gorgeous.
She looks better now than when she made the movie.
Mm-hmm.
She does.
Dude, she must work out or something. Okay, let's take a look at the other people. Okay. Wait. What happened to the other one? Okay, so Angela, 67. Okay. Oh, okay, Teddy, if you want to come up, there you go. Wait, oops, my bad. That's not it. Hold on. Let me get you the link. Paste.
I've never heard of this lady, Angela Bullock.
Yeah, me either, but I don't think we have because I mean, she's been around for a very long. I mean, she was there with the original General Hospital. Damn.
Right,
Let
and
me
I used to
see.
watch that show.
Let's see here. I don't know why. Okay. Let me go here, and I'm gonna go to. She doesn't even have the Johnsons here. Okay. Anything about the Johnsons? Okay. Uh, the actors. Okay, so we want. Where is it? There we go. Okay, Stanley Bennett Clay. Okay, here's Stanley. What? Okay, what movies was he in? Damn, he's been in quite a few himself. Let me go to IMDb. Where's his photo? Because I know that can't be it. Oh, he was on iRobot.
What
God,
did he play
they
the
really.
robot? Because I didn't see him in
No,
that
he
movie.
was in it, but it doesn't say. Okay. Let me see the other guy. They're gonna make it hard for me to find him. Okay, so he was a little kid, I guess. But that was 10 years ago, so I guess he looks like this now.
Oh my God! What? How did he age
Wait a
like that?
minute. Wait a minute. But if that's 10 years ago, this is okay. Wait a minute. Oh, no. This is the father. This must be is that the father? Oh, no. That's the guy when he was grown. I don't know why they have a picture of this kid in here because this kid is not him. This kid, oh, okay, this guy was born 1950. That must have been the father. Okay. Okay. I think we dug in deep enough. Let me get back to here. So any comments? I think we've been on here long enough. 3.5 hours. I'll show Dwight Howard real quick.
So I walk in the house, and that's when I see all the paraphernalia on the table, some with peanut butter. And I'm like, hey, hi, mommy. I'm like, you okay? He was like, yeah. And I'm like, what's wrong? Nothing. And then he asked why his dad was being so mean.
The people who know what's going on in my bed, they know what the hell going on with my bed and what the hell I do in it. That ain't for everybody on the internet. That ain't for no blogs. That ain't for no websites. I don't got to tell nobody where I put my wood at.
Dwight Howard's ex and mother of...
Now, are they married? Because that's not anything, you know. I'm just going to let you guys comment. I'm going to shut up.
He sound like an idiot. Like, he's talking about, I don't have to tell nobody where I put my wood at. That don't even sound, that sounds so crass and ghetto.
I know. And he's supposed to, people see him as a role model. That's the scary part. Or they'll say that, wait. No, what they'll do is they won't say he was a role model now, but they had no problem calling him a role model earlier. Does that make sense?
No.
Oh, here we go. I'm going to play this. This will end us out. This is, okay, here we go. Let me get this out of the way.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Big G, the corruption officer, coming at you with yet another adventure or another one of my experiences as a correction officer that went to jail. Now, the topic of the night, I'm going to get right into it, is rape inside jail. Now, let me explain something. Things are different. Rape is seen different through the eyes of inmates that are lifers. Let me explain that, right? An inmate that knows that he's never coming or they are never coming home, right? They look at a lot of stuff different than we do or people do in society. Now, I know we all heard about the brutal rapes that go on, kids, booty bandits, and all kind of craziness that be going on inside jail. That men and people be getting raped. What I've saw when I went up north, when just being around lifers, being around people who ain't never coming home, people who there's certain codes in jail, like, okay, you might go up there, you might join the Bloods, you might join the Crips, you might become a Muslim, or whatever the case may be. And then you got people who up there that under no circumstances are, going to have sex with another man, because that's just not their thing. Now, they don't judge other men up there that be having sex by men, because guess what? In society, what are you going to say to them? How are you going to judge them? You know what I'm saying? It ain't really no such thing as coming out the closet up there, especially if you were a lifer. And now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that people that are lifers that's up there doing stuff like that. People are doing whatever they feel they need to do to survive up there. If they're not with the shits, they're not with the shits. They're not doing it. You know what I'm saying? As far as I know, lifers, sometime every 10 years, they get shipped to another jail, to another jail, to another jail. And what I mean by that is they could do 10 years in the jail and be Muslim. Then they go to another jail and they may have a lover. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it. I'm not
interesting.
Accusing nobody of anything, but I've seen guys that came through, you know what I'm saying, that was Muslim, always going to Muslim service, especially when they have a Ramadan because of the food and all that kind of stuff. And they're Muslim. The next they crippin'. Some of them signed in the PC. You know what I'm saying? I done seen it all come through that island, and then especially, when I went up north. So I'm just trying to put you in the mind frame of the topic of what I'm talking about right now. And Another thing that I found out is when, of course, we all know a person go to jail for rape, he fool. You know, he gonna get beat up. They find out that he's a rapist or whatever case it be, you know, he gonna get dealt with. He gonna have a hard time up there, especially if they get a hold of your paperwork. And you know, immediately in jail, inmates have access to getting a hold of somebody's paperwork to tell if they snitching, to tell what your charges are. You know, I was up there. They was like, "What you in there? What's your code? 15 something. Oh, that's rape." So, oh, he bust somebody over the head and he robbed them and stuff like that. It was a guy who came through for rape. Of course, they jumped him. You know what I'm saying? How you gonna rape a woman? Stuff like that, right? And this is when these dudes' psyche, they got different levels of rape. One guy says, "Listen, I may have raped a woman, but this dude raped a kid. I don't fuck with no kids. I don't mess with no kids. Dude, you still a rapist, but you feel that he's worse than you because he raped a kid." Then there's another guy who says, "This guy is worse than the worst because he raped his own kid." There's a lot of sick people out there that try to justify uh, taking sex from another person. You know what I'm saying? And what I'm trying to put you in the mind frame of, in prison, when these people are never coming home or they got long stints of time, you know, to do, you think they care about what you think about them as a person who has sex with a man or a known booty bandit? There's booty bandits in jail that get much respect, that put work in. I remember working on Rikers Island. They had separation at the time. It was either called gay housing or homosexual housing. I don't want to offend anybody, because without using the proper terminology. But when I was there, it was called homosexual housing or gay housing, and an inmate had to sign paperwork that says that I'm gay and I would like to sign myself in, signing yourself in, just like signing yourself into protective custody. They would sign themselves in to gay housing. And while I was working there, these dudes have this ideology that I'm not gay if I'm the one that's on top, I guess, having sex with a man.
That's weird. But I think they think that way.
I'm the pitcher, he's the catcher. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to tell you what the terminology they was using in prison, and some dudes try to justify them having sex with men in the eyes of other inmates.
But DJ,
You know what I'm saying? So
I wanted to tell you that a lot of like DL men who look straight, who act straight and everything, these the thugs, right? They believe that also. If they're the ones that's the top and they're the ones that's like the giver, then they're not gay. Like these like these DL thug guys out here.
Exactly.
Some dudes are
they make up some reason to make it sound better.
Allegedly sign themselves in PC because they running from something, they got problems, they can't be in general population. They don't want to when I say sign themselves in the gay housing, because they got problems in general population and they figure being in gay housing is easy. But let me tell you something. Gay don't mean punk. I'm just letting you know that right now. Gay don't mean punk that you could just beat up on them because they're gay, because I don't see some gay dudes whip some inmates' asses in jail. You know what I'm saying? But one dude was telling me straight up and down that he's not gay because he's the one that's doing the deed and not getting the deed done to him. Bro, however you want to live, whatever you feel floats your boat, that's what it is. But I'm just trying to tell y'all, enlighten y'all on the perception of what people think about when they go to prison and gay versus us out here in society. You know what I'm saying? There's a bunch of stories, a bunch of stuff that I've seen or tried to prevent when I was there. Now, another thing is, let me break down the officer having sex with an inmate. That's rape. I don't care if it's a male officer having sex with a female inmate and she with it, or a female officer having sex with a male inmate and he's with it. Of course, the male inmate is going to be with it. in accordance of the law, that's rape. Because a law enforcement person, the inmate can't consent while they're incarcerated to have sex with you. We all heard about the female who had a baby by the cop killer. You know what I'm saying? She was a correctional officer, fell in love with him. I guess he had the gift of gab or whatever, and he had sex with her. And they got she went. I think she did 6 months. Now, what I'm trying to say is, all over the world, it's not just Rikers Island. Inmates are having sex with these officers, and they getting caught. I know y'all heard about the inmate up in Baltimore.
Okay, let me pause right there. Any last words for this evening?
Yeah, I wanted to say, like, regarding this situation, if somebody told me a story that happened to them, I don't even know if this story is true, where they were this was by a group of men, right? And the story was so disturbing to me, like it just stuck in my mind, and I wondered, why did this person tell me this? But I just
let's make a comment about the movie.
Oh, okay. The movie or about the guy talking, or
no, the movie, not the. I mean, we could talk about the guy talking. Let's do that. Okay.
Well, I mean, I just think that it's a violation of. I feel like men feel like it's not about if you're doing life in prison. Okay, there's no way you getting out. You'll be having the anatomy of a man where the male body has to constantly have sex. I don't care. You're going to it doesn't necessarily make you gay. It's just that you have to have a release, and so that's if you're doing life in prison, of course. Yeah, you're going to be with another guy. You're going to, like, if you need to get your rocks off. I mean, I know it must be heck having a penis, but sometimes
so
like
do you think it makes them gay or not? I think gay is gay to me. I mean, if you're banging somebody who, banging another dude, you're a
but this
dude,
is
you're gay.
But this is like if you're doing life. He said if you're doing life in jail, ain't no way you coming out. And if you do come out, you probably be like 80 something years old. I don't think. I mean, what are you gonna do? You're not gonna beat your meat forever. You can't like just. I don't think men are equipped to do.
Right. I would call it like this. I would call it circumstantially he's gay. I mean, he may have not wanted to be that way, but that's the way he's got to live his life. He's got to live the gay life now because he's in prison for the rest of his life. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I thought they had conjugal visits, but maybe not.
No, wait, they do got conjugal visits. I didn't think about that.
That should be enough. I mean, how much sex does a guy need? What, twice a week or something, right?
Twice a week? I don't know what you talking about, DJ.
Well, what do they get? How many? I don't know. I'm not I've never been in prison system, so I have no clue.
Well, my husband, like, he wants it like 5 times a day. Well, not now because I'm pregnant.
For them, I mean, well, there's no conjugal. Sassafras says there's no conjugal. Never mind. I get tongue tied. Conjugal visits anyway. So,
where everybody go?
Everybody's here. Quita, what do you think?
Well, about the movie, I think that everybody should pay attention to your children. Women, pay attention to your children, pay attention to your husband or your guy, or a woman, whoever it is around your children, and look for the signs and stop being so relaxed and trusting with your whole heart, because people do things. When you don't protect your children, there's a possibility that when your child gets a certain age, he or she is going to repeat the same thing. It's a possibility, not 100%, because I was touched as a child, and I never touched a child, and I would never touch a child. And I can't stand people that touch children. But women and men too, protect your children. If you have an urge to do something, get away. Just run. If you're there with some kids, I don't care if no other adults there, you feel like you want to do something, run out the house, leave kids there by themselves. Go buy a prostitute, do something, but look out for the signs. And as far as the jail situation goes, if a man have sex with another man, he likes men. Now they call it gay for the stay or whatever they want to call it. They like me. They like sex. So just be careful.
Well said.
And thank you for having me, DJ, and everybody on the panel. Have a good night.
Coming. Okay, you too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, I guess Darnell's gone, so I'm just gonna hit the beat. Here we go. I'd like to thank everybody for coming through. On the stage, there's Camo, Quita, Darnell, the Academy Hub for Women,
It's not hard to fool me.
and
Cause I'm addicted to the good life.
Ripple. In the chat, we have Indiana Mom, Bridget Mouton,
No need to say
it's just newbie,
where we are heading now, babe.
Summer Dream,
I follow to the edge of it all. To the edge of it all. So tell your good night. Cause I'll find a better one. Yeah.
Miss RV,
Susceptible now.
play yoga,
Before the moment flies. Ooh, so tell you goodbye.
Blue Diamond,
Cause I'll find a better one. Ooh, susceptible now. Before the moment flies.
okay, Black Tina, HD Baldwin,
It's not a problem. Cause I know what I'm getting into. Yes. Yeah. And nothing can stop me. Cause I'm addicted to what you and I realize. Either way, I follow. No need to say where we are heading now, babe.
Rena West,
I follow to the edge of it all.
Conscious
So
Mind
tell
Love,
you good night. Cause I'll find a better
Indy,
one.
Anna, Mom,
Susceptible now. Before the moment flies. Before it flies. So tell you good night.
Phoenix Rising,
Cause I'll find a better one.
Sweet Award, Harlem Renaissance, Ruby. Everybody, have a good night now. Bridget Mouton.